Close your eyes now. Let the noise of the world fade like the last light over the Nile. Tonight we drift, softly, slowly, into a land where time moves like desert winds. A land of golden sands, sacred temples, and whispers of queens long forgotten. Welcome to ancient Egypt. But tonight we do not speak of pharaohs and pyramids. Tonight we tell the stories of the women, the priestesses, the queens, the mothers, the healers, the scribes in silence, and the singers beneath the stars. They lived under the gaze of the gods, draped in linen, eyes painted like falcons, their lives woven into the very fabric of the Nile's eternal rhythm. Tonight, you will meet Hatshepsut, the pharaoh in sandals of a queen, Nefertari, whose beauty lives in the painted tombs of love, Isis, the goddess and the mother, whose myth shaped a civilization, and countless others, women whose voices still echo in stone and sand. With every breath, we'll float deeper into the calm through candlelit chambers and moonlit courtyards, where their stories rest like lotus petals upon still waters. So breathe in, breathe out, and let the gentle current of history carry you into sleep. This is the story of the women of ancient Egypt, and you are just beginning to dream. In the hush of ancient Alexandria, where the waves of the Mediterranean whispered secrets against marble shores and moonlight bathed the pillars of forgotten gods, a child was born beneath the patient gaze of stars. Her name was Cleopatra, not the first to wear the name, but the last to make it eternal. She came into a palace scented with myrrh and heavy with history, where golden ceilings glowed in candlelight and silk drapes swayed in the breath of the Nile. Cleopatra VII, daughter of Ptolemy the Twain, entered a dynasty more ancient than memory itself, yet as fragile as papyrus in storm. The world she was born into shimmered with beauty and trembled with danger. Her family, the Ptolemies, ruled Egypt with Greek tongues and foreign hearts. They had worn the crowns of pharaohs for centuries, yet spoke no Egyptian, until her. Cleopatra listened, learned, loved the language of her people. She was not content to rule by blood, she sought to rule by understanding. Even as a girl, she watched the games of court with eyes sharper than blades. Her father played the flute while Rome played him like an instrument. Cleopatra learned early that power was rarely held by the noble, and safety never guaranteed by birth. She studied more than any princess before her: medicine, astronomy, languages, the sacred rituals of Isis. She walked the library not as a visitor, but as a daughter of scrolls and secrets. While others slept, Cleopatra dreamed with eyes open, watching the movements of empires, listening to the silence between treaties. When her father was exiled, she travelled to Rome, young, observant, forgotten, but she saw Caesar, she saw Pompey, she understood their hunger and the way the world tilted around their names. She learned that survival was not in waiting but in walking boldly where others whispered. Her father returned to the throne, bruised but breathing thanks to Roman gold and promises. Yet death does not forget. In time he passed, and Cleopatra stood at the edge of destiny, only 18 years old, crowned beside her 10-year-old brother. They were to rule as co-regents, but Cleopatra did not share easily. She began issuing coins with her face alone, writing royal decrees without her brother's name. And in time, those around him, greedy, trembling with ambition, turned against her. She was forced from the palace, stripped of power, driven into the desert wind, but she was not broken. She gathered her forces near the border, her mind calculating like a seasoned general, her heart steady. And then, as the gods would have it, Rome came again. Not with diplomacy, but with sails. Julius Caesar arrived in Alexandria in pursuit of Pompey, who had fled there only to be murdered. Cleopatra saw her moment and in one of history's most whispered legends, she wrapped herself in a rug and was smuggled into Caesar's chambers, unrolled before him like a gift from the gods. He was taken, not only by her beauty but by her brilliance. She spoke his tongue, she knew his world, she offered alliance and more, and within days she returned to the palace under Caesar's protection, her brother drowned in the war that followed. Cleopatra stood again, this time alone. She ruled now not as a girl of exile, but as Queen of Egypt, lover of Rome. With Caesar at her side, she secured her throne and bore him a son, Caesarion. The child was hers, and possibly heir to the greatest empire earth had known. In the early days of her rule, hope bloomed. She brought grain to starving cities, restored temples long abandoned, stood among her people not as a distant deity, but as their Isis reborn. She sailed the Nile in golden barges, dressed in sacred robes, perfumed with lotus and prophecy. But peace never lingers long in the courts of kings and conquerors. When Caesar was murdered in Rome, his blood staining the very stones of the Senate, Cleopatra wept not only for the man, but for the world they had begun to build together. She returned to Egypt with her child and watched as Rome tore itself apart in civil war. And then came Mark Antony, another Roman, another flame, but different. Antony was not Caesar. He was wilder, more passionate, more reckless. And Cleopatra, perhaps weary of caution, met him not with calculation, but with extravagance. Their love was theatrical, thunderous, glittering with gold and songs and promises whispered in the perfume of night. They had children. They divided lands. They lived like gods. But Rome, ever hungry, saw this not as romance but as rebellion. Octavian, Caesar's heir, cast them as enemies of the Republic, as traitors led astray by a foreign queen. And so war came again. Ships darkened the sea, spears glinted in the dawn. At Actium they were defeated, not by bravery, but by betrayal and chaos. Their fleets scattered, their dreams sank beneath the waves. Back in Egypt, surrounded by the ghosts of her dynasty and the marble halls that now echoed with the sounds of loss, Cleopatra prepared for the end. She sent treasures to Rome, tried to negotiate, but Octavian wanted spectacle, not surrender. And so, on a warm, humming night, she entered her tomb dressed in royal robes. Some say she clasped an asp to her breast, others claim poison hidden in a comb. However it happened, death came swiftly, with grace, with defiance. Mark Antony died just before her, falling upon his sword, and together they vanished into myth. Rome took Egypt, Caesarion was killed, and with Cleopatra's death so ended the line of pharaohs. No crown would ever again rest upon Egyptian brows made of native blood. Yet her legacy lingered like incense, not as villain or victim, but as symbol of resistance, of intellect, of the delicate dance between love and power. She was the last to speak to her people in their own tongue, the last to worship their gods in sacred rites, the last to believe Egypt could stand alone. And though the statues crumbled and scrolls burned, her name survived, in art, in dreams, in lullabies whispered to stars. For Cleopatra was not just queen, she was the night that remembers, the silence after empire, the breath before sleep. So now, as the candles dim and your mind drifts like a barge upon gentle waters, remember her not only for the wars and lovers, but for her voice, the one that spoke when all others fell silent. She was the end of an age, the echo of greatness, the dream of a kingdom lit by moonlight and memory. Sleep now, beneath the same sky that once watched her reign. Let the golden sands hush your thoughts. Let the river carry you to peace. As you close your eyes tonight, let the lessons of Cleopatra carry you gently into a world of dreams. Sleep well, dear traveller of history. Sweet dreams. Tin. Imagine a time long ago, beneath the golden sky of ancient Egypt, where the soft rays of the sun slowly stretched across the vast sands, touching the great temples and the peaceful Nile with a warm, gentle light. In this world lived a queen whose beauty and spirit were as radiant as the sun itself. Her name was Nefertiti, which means the beautiful one has come. But she was so much more than beauty alone. She was grace, wisdom, and strength wrapped in quiet elegance. Nefertiti's days began softly as the dawn unfolded its delicate colours across the horizon. Picture her waking gently in her chamber, surrounded by the softest linens and the faint scent of lotus blossoms carried by the morning breeze. Her breath, calm and even, mirrored the peaceful rhythm of the waking world outside. The palace hummed quietly with the sounds of life, the distant murmur of the river, the flutter of birds' wings, and the hushed footsteps of attendants moving like shadows through the cool marble halls. As Nefertiti rose, the sunlight filtered through the tall windows, casting golden patterns that danced lightly on the walls. She wrapped herself in silken robes dyed in soft colours that shimmered like the desert dawn, and her hands were adorned with delicate jewels, each one telling stories of love, devotion, and power. Yet, it was her eyes that held the deepest magic, calm, wise, and full of endless stories waiting to be told. She would step into the garden, a sanctuary blooming with fragrant flowers and shaded by palm trees swaying softly in the warm breeze. The scent of jasmine and myrrh mingled with the fresh earth and the sparkling water of the fountains, creating a gentle symphony for the senses. Here, in this quiet retreat, Nefertiti found her peace, a moment to breathe, to listen to the whispering leaves, and to connect with the steady pulse of life around her. Nefertiti was not just a queen of beauty, but also a bearer of change. Alongside her husband, Pharaoh Akhenaten, she embraced a new way of seeing the world, a devotion to Aten, the sun disk, as the singular life-giving source. This new faith brought light not only to their people but also to their hearts, guiding them toward unity, hope, and renewal. Throughout her day, Nefertiti carried herself with gentle confidence. In the grand halls of the palace, her voice was soft but clear, carrying words of kindness and wisdom. She listened with patience to her people, offering comfort and guidance like a gentle river nourishing the land. Her laughter was rare but bright, a shimmering light that could warm the coldest room. When evening came, and the sun began to slip beneath the horizon, the world around her softened into hues of pink, purple, and deep blue. Nefertiti would sit beside her family, sharing stories and dreams, her voice a lullaby that wrapped them in warmth and safety. The stars slowly lit the sky like tiny lanterns, twinkling with quiet promise. As night deepened, Nefertiti would retreat to her chamber, where the air was cool and fragrant with the scent of frankincense and sandalwood. She lay down gently, her thoughts floating like clouds in a calm sky. With each breath, she felt the weight of the day melt away, replaced by a soothing calm that embraced her like a soft, comforting shawl. In that stillness she was free to dream of golden horizons, of peaceful gardens where every leaf whispered secrets of the earth, and of a world held together by kindness and light. Her heart, strong and tender, rested easy, knowing that tomorrow would bring new hope and new dreams. Now, as you listen, imagine yourself in Nefertiti's peaceful garden, the warm sun on your face and the gentle breeze brushing your skin. Feel your body relax, your mind grow quiet, and your breath slow to a calm, steady rhythm. Let the tranquility of this ancient land fill you, wrapping you in softness and light. With every breath, sink deeper into comfort, like resting beneath a wide, star-filled sky. Let go of all worries and feel the gentle embrace of sleep drawing near. As Nefertiti's story carries you softly forward, allow your thoughts to drift like feathers on the wind, light and free. Sleep now, cradled by the timeless peace of the Nile and the quiet strength of a queen who reminds us that beauty and power can live gently side by side. Rest deeply and peacefully, and may your dreams be filled with light, love, and endless calm. Good night. Close your eyes now, and let the soft, warm breeze of ancient Egypt surround you. Imagine yourself standing by the gentle flow of the Nile River, where the water moves calmly over smooth stones, reflecting the golden light of the setting sun. The air carries a subtle scent of lotus flowers and fragrant spices, and all around the tall palm trees sway slowly, as if whispering a secret lullaby. In this peaceful land long ago lived a woman named Hatshepsut, a queen unlike any other, a pharaoh who ruled with wisdom, grace, and quiet strength. Born into a royal family, she was destined for greatness, but her journey was unlike that of most. As a young princess, she walked the grand halls of her father's palace, her footsteps soft on the cool stone floors. She listened intently to the stories of her ancestors, the kings and queens who had shaped Egypt's rich history. These stories filled her heart with a deep sense of purpose. When Hatshepsut's husband, Pharaoh Thutmose II, passed away, the throne was meant to pass to his son from another wife. But Hatshepsut knew the land needed her steady hand and her thoughtful mind. She stepped forward, not just as a queen, but as a pharaoh, a ruler who would guide Egypt with both strength and kindness. Imagine the quiet confidence she held as she donned the royal headdress, the false beard that symbolized her authority, and the robes embroidered with gold and lapis lazuli. She was a figure of dignity and power, yet her eyes held warmth and compassion. Under Hatshepsut's gentle reign, Egypt blossomed like the desert rose after rare rains. She focused on building peace and prosperity, nurturing the arts, culture, and religion. Imagine the grand temples she commissioned, carved directly into the cliffs of Deir el-Bahri. These temples rose majestically from the rocky hillsides, adorned with delicate reliefs showing her divine birth and her close connection to the gods. Walking through the cool stone corridors, you can almost hear the quiet prayers and see the flickering torchlight casting soft shadows on the walls. Her reign was a time of exploration and wonder. Hatshepsut sent ships across the Red Sea to the mysterious land of Punt, bringing back treasures that filled the palace with the rich aroma of myrrh and frankincense. Feel the gentle rocking of those ancient ships as they sailed under calm skies, the sails billowing softly with the breeze. Imagine the crews, their spirits lifted by the warm sun and the promise of new lands, returning home with exotic gifts that sparkled like stars. Hatshepsut was not only a builder and explorer, but also a wise and caring leader. She governed with a steady hand, listening to her people, understanding their needs, and bringing harmony to the land. Her rule was marked by kindness, and her decisions reflected a deep respect for tradition and innovation. Imagine her seated in a shaded garden, surrounded by blossoming flowers and the soft murmur of fountains, her thoughts calm and focused on the future of her people. As night falls gently over Egypt, the sky becomes a tapestry of shimmering stars. The desert cools, and the sound of the river mingles with the soft chirping of crickets. Imagine Hatshepsut resting in her royal chambers, the soft glow of oil lamps flickering around her. She closes her eyes peacefully, knowing she has served her land well. The calm of the night wraps around her like a comforting blanket, and her breath slows into a quiet rhythm. Now, allow yourself to join her in this serene moment. Feel the soothing calm of the Nile night wash over you. Let your body relax deeply, your muscles softening, your mind drifting like a leaf floating gently downstream. With every breath, you sink further into peaceful rest, carried by the gentle spirit of a queen who ruled with heart, wisdom, and gentle strength. Let the story of Hatshepsut, the great female pharaoh, lull you into a deep and restful sleep. Feel her courage and grace wrap around you like a soft whisper, guiding you safely through the night. The stars above keep watch, the river hums its gentle song, and all is calm and still. Sleep now, wrapped in the timeless tranquility of ancient Egypt. Good night. In the heart of ancient Egypt, where the golden sun kissed the limestone temples and the Nile murmured lullabies to the land, a girl was born not of royal blood, but of rare brilliance. Her name was Tai. She did not come from a long line of kings, but her father Yuya was a respected courtier, and her mother Thuya served in the sacred houses of Amun. From a young age, Tai was not like the others. She spoke with clarity. She observed with intensity. Her words, though few, carried the weight of certainty, like ripples across a sacred lake. In the palace halls, princes and nobles passed her by, but one pair of eyes lingered Amenhotep, son of Thutmose IV, young and princely, already promised to the throne. Their connection was not arranged by ambition alone, but stirred by admiration, by a quiet recognition of power in one another. And so, despite the customs of royal lineage, Tai became more than wife, she became queen, crowned not by her bloodline but by her mind and spirit. For the first time in Egypt's long story, a woman not of royal birth was made great royal wife. Tai entered the royal court not as an ornament but as a force. Her presence was carved into scarabs, her name etched beside the king's. Amenhotep III, in all his majesty, saw in her not just a partner but an equal. In diplomatic letters sent to foreign kings, her name was spoken with reverence. She sat beside Amenhotep in statues, in thrones, in temples. Foreign envoys knew they were not only negotiating with a king, but with a queen whose word mattered. Egypt shimmered with prosperity, and Tai was its quiet architect. Her early years in court were golden, literally and figuratively. Trade flourished. Art reached new heights. Lakes were dug, palaces gleamed, and the people rejoiced under a sky filled with promise. The royal couple appeared united in harmony, she a beacon of reason, he a god-king in human form. Tia advised, interpreted omens, soothed tempers in the harem, and listened to the priests of Amun and Aten. But even in peace the seeds of transformation stir, hidden beneath silken sands. As Amenhotep aged and the weight of years bent his once youthful form, Tai's influence only deepened. But with it came change. The court, once grounded in tradition, began to sway under philosophical winds. Their son, Amenhotep IV, would one day reject the old gods in favour of Aten, the sun disk a revolution in faith. Whispers suggest that Tyre stood beside him as this storm of ideology began to build. Whether she nurtured the fire or merely watched it grow is unknown. But something shifted, the court grew restless. The priests uneasy, and the statues of gods were slowly pulled down. The balance of Maat, the sacred order, trembled. Though Tai remained serene in public, her days grew heavy. The death of Amenhotep III cast a long shadow. Now her son reigned, no longer in the image of past pharaohs, but as Akhenaten, prophet of Aten. He moved the capital to Amarna. He waged war not with swords but with beliefs, and though Tyre followed him there, her voice may have faltered. Was she troubled by this upheaval? Did she approve of the old gods being silenced? No scroll speaks the answer. Only the wind through the abandoned stones of Amarna hints at her thoughts. Age crept upon her shoulders like dusk. Her jewels still glittered, but her eyes grew distant. Perhaps she missed Thebes. Perhaps she longed for Amenhotep, for the days when her wisdom ruled beside a steady hand. In the vast halls of her son's experimental capital, Tai became a quieter figure. She had lived through a golden age, and now watched as old ways fell like lotus petals into the current. Her death came not in violence, but in silence. The scrolls did not shout it. The priest did not mourn aloud, and yet her absence was felt deeply not just in palaces, but across distant lands. Letters from foreign rulers asked about her well-being long after she had gone, for her name, once unusual in royal circles, had become the heartbeat of an era. But time ever-flowing sought to forget her. Akhenaten's revolution collapsed. The capital of Amarna was abandoned. Temples were restored to the old gods. Tia's lineage was entangled in chaos. Her descendants, Tutankhamun and the rest, rose and fell like reeds in stormy floodwaters, and Ty herself slipped into shadow. Yet stone remembers. An archaeologist brushing centuries from forgotten walls found her name, her face, her story. They found her among the treasures, the letters, the funerary texts. And she rose again, not as a queen of power, but as a woman of intellect, diplomacy, and quiet strength. Today, Ty stands as a symbol of how influence does not always roar, sometimes it whispers. She is not remembered for conquest but for counsel, not for terror but for trust. Her power was not of armies but of ideas, and her story gently reminds us that true royalty can rise not from lineage, but from light within. And now, dear dreamer, as the stars settle like dew over the land of the pharaohs, let her story rest within you. May her calm mind soothe your thoughts, and her grace cradle your rest. Sleep now, beneath a sky older than pyramids, and let her memory float gently over your dreams like papyrus on the Nile. As you close your eyes tonight, let the lessons of Queen Ty carry you gently into a world of dreams. Sleep well, dear traveller of history. Sweet dreams. In the dawn of Egypt's ancient history, where myths and legends wove the fabric of time, a queen emerged whose name whispers softly through the corridors of early dynastic memory. Meneth, daughter of the mighty rulers of the First Dynasty, was born into a world where kingship was young, still shaping itself like the Nile's shifting waters. She was the daughter of King Jet and Queen Meneth, perhaps a princess by birth, but destined for more than the role of mere consort. Her childhood was shadowed by the weight of nascent royalty. The sun god Ra had not yet fully claimed the throne of an Egyptian divinity, but the sacred rites of kingship were already forming around her family. Young Meneth grew among the priests and scribes, learning the mysteries of the land and the rituals that held the people's fate in balance. She was trained in wisdom beyond her years, taught to understand the power of symbols, the ankh, the scepter, the crown, each a thread in the tapestry of leadership. The rise of Merneth to power was neither straightforward nor certain. She was married to King Jer, the son of her father's line, weaving royal bloodlines tighter together in the early dynasty's quest for order. When Jer passed, a delicate moment arrived. The throne stood empty, and the young heir, Den, was too small to rule. It was in this fragile time that Meneth stepped forward, not just as mother but as ruler. Some scholars believe she was Egypt's first woman to wear the full mantle of kingship, reigning as pharaoh in her own right, while others suggest she served as regent, guiding her son's early steps with steady hand and clear mind. Her early reign brought hope and continuity to a kingdom still learning how to be united. Egypt, divided by tribal loyalties and bound by fragile alliances, looked to her for stability. Her name appears on ancient seals, her tomb is found alongside kings, and her funerary objects carry royal insignia. Though the details are shrouded by time's mist, it is clear that Meneth was more than a placeholder. She was a leader whose influence was felt across the land. Yet, like all stories woven by history's hand, there came a turning point. The delicate balance of a female ruler in a male-dominated tradition may have sown seeds of tension. The old gods, the rising nobility, and the priests who saw kingship as the divine right of men watched her closely. There is no record of her suffering illness or scandal, but the weight of power in such an uncertain time could twist even the strongest will. As the years passed, power struggles deepened, and the fragile order she held began to tremble under unseen pressures. The period that followed was not marked by overt corruption or terror, but by subtle shifts in court dynamics. Some ancient records hint at unrest, though not explicitly linked to Meneth herself. Perhaps her reign was challenged quietly by factions loyal to male successors, or by the growing power of priests and nobles who feared a woman's control. Whatever the cause, Egypt slowly moved toward a new era where the role of pharaoh was again claimed by her son Den, who would carry the kingdom forward with vigour. Meneth's fall from the throne was not a violent one. It was the natural passing of time, the gentle fading of a light that once shone brightly in Egypt's earliest days. She was laid to rest in a tomb fit for a king at Abydos, her burial surrounded by the honours of royalty, including servants and offerings for the afterlife. Her name was inscribed with reverence, ensuring she would not be forgotten, though her story remained mysterious, whispered between the lines of history. In reflecting on Meneth's legacy, she stands as a symbol of female strength in the cradle of civilization. Whether as queen, regent, or pharaoh, her life reminds us that leadership knows no gender, only courage and wisdom. She bridges the gap between myth and recorded history, showing that even in the oldest stories, women held the reins of power, shaping the destiny of Egypt's eternal kingdom. Meneth teaches us that sometimes the quietest rulers leave the deepest marks, like the soft Nile currents shaping the riverbank over centuries. Now, as the cool desert night blankets the ancient lands, close your eyes and imagine the gentle sway of the papyrus reeds, the slow flow of the great river under a sky lit by countless stars. Let the calm strength of Meneth soothe your thoughts, a reminder that even the earliest queens held the power to guide, protect, and inspire. Drift into sleep wrapped in the quiet majesty of Egypt's dawn, where every dream is touched by history's softest whisper. As you close your eyes tonight, let the wisdom of Queen Meneth carry you gently into a world of dreams. Sleep well, dear traveller of history, sweet dreams. In the vast sands of ancient Egypt, where the sun painted the desert gold and the Nile whispered secrets to the palms, Sobekneferu was born into a world still shaped by kings and gods. She came from the 12th dynasty, daughter of Pharaoh Amenemhat III, a ruler who brought wealth and power to the land. Sobekneferu's early years were marked by the quiet strength of royal upbringing, surrounded by temples, scribes, and the sacred rituals that bound Egypt together. As a princess, she was taught the ways of leadership, learning to understand the delicate balance between divine rule and human governance. The name Sobekneferu, meaning the beauty of Sobek, linked her to the crocodile god Sobek, protector of the Nile and symbol of strength and fertility. This connection to a fierce and powerful deity would shape her destiny as she grew into womanhood, preparing to take on roles reserved for kings. Her rise to power was unexpected, yet inevitable. When her brother, Amenemhat IV, died without an heir, the throne was left without a clear successor. The kingdom was at a crossroads, a moment when traditions could bend or break. Sobekneferu stepped forward, breaking centuries of male dominance by becoming the first confirmed female pharaoh of Egypt. She was crowned with the double crown of Upper and Lower Egypt, embodying the unity of the land, and was honoured with all the symbols of kingship: the crook and flail, the false beard, the throne name. In the early days of her reign, there was hope and promise. Sobekneferu's rule was seen as a continuation of her father's legacy, a bridge between past and future. She commissioned building projects, renewed temples, and ensured the prosperity of the Nile's floodwaters to nourish the fields. Her name was inscribed on monuments, and her image portrayed with regal dignity, sometimes adopting the traditional male pharaoh's attire to affirm her authority in a world that expected men to rule. But beneath the surface of this calm there was a turning point. The challenges of being a female ruler in a patriarchal society were many. Sobekneferu's reign was short, only a few years, and the pressure of maintaining power in a time of political uncertainty weighed heavily. Though no records tell of scandals or cruelty, the immense burden of leadership in an era where tradition clashed with necessity must have been a quiet struggle. The gods themselves seemed to withhold their favour, as the kingdom's stability wavered like the flicker of a candle in the desert wind. There is no clear evidence of corruption or terror during her rule. Rather, her time on the throne was a brief but important chapter, a soft yet firm assertion that women could bear the crown and wield power. Yet her reign ended without a clear successor, and the dynasty shifted. The royal line passed on, and the torch of Egypt's future was carried forward by others, but Sobekneferu's mark remained indelible. Her death remains shrouded in mystery. As the sands of time cover many ancient secrets, she was buried in a tomb befitting her status, though its location is still debated among historians. Some say her final resting place was near the great pyramids of her ancestors, a silent testament to her role as Egypt's pioneering queen. With her passing, Egypt returned to male rulers, but the door she opened could never be fully closed. In the quiet reflection of history, Sobekneferu stands as a beacon of possibility, a symbol of breaking barriers and embracing strength beyond convention. She reminds us that leadership is not bound by gender, but by will, wisdom, and courage. Her reign teaches us that even the briefest light can illuminate the path for generations to come, casting long shadows across the corridors of time. Now, as night falls softly over the ancient land, imagine the gentle rustle of palm leaves, the cool breeze carrying the scent of lotus and papyrus. Let the calm presence of Sobekneferu soothe your mind, a queen who dared to rule and left a legacy whispered by the Nile's eternal flow. Breathe deeply and let the stillness of the desert night wrap you in peace, guiding you gently into restful sleep. As you close your eyes tonight, let the courage of Sobekneferu carry you gently into a world of dreams. Sleep well, dear traveller of history. Sweet dreams. In the vast and timeless land of ancient Egypt, where the great Nile flowed like a silver ribbon through endless desert sands, a princess named Ahmose-Nefertari was born into a world on the brink of transformation. She came from a royal family burdened yet blessed with destiny, daughter of Pharaoh Sekenenra Tao and Queen Ahotep, two warriors who dared to dream of a free Egypt. From her earliest days, Ahmose-Nefertari was wrapped in the gentle rhythms of palace life and the whispered hopes of a people yearning to see the dawn after long shadows. Her childhood was a delicate weaving of tradition and promise. Though the land was under the uncertain rule of foreign Hyksos kings, the spirit of Egypt's ancient gods still filled the temples and hearts of its people. Ahmose-Nefertari grew beneath the watchful eyes of her parents and priests, learning the sacred rites, the songs of the earth and sky, and the wisdom that would one day guide her. Her name, blending with that of her brother Ahmose, meant born of the moon, reflecting the celestial blessing that seemed to shine softly upon her path. When the tides of war began to turn, and her brother Ahmose I rose to claim the throne and expel the Hyksos, Ahmose-Nefertari stepped into a role of quiet but profound power. She was not merely a queen by name, but a true partner in the revival of Egypt's glory. Her presence was a calming force amid the chaos of battle and rebuilding, a symbol that the land itself was being gently restored by divine hands. As the new kingdom dawned, so too did the light of her influence spread in rituals, in temples, and in the hearts of her people. In those early days, hope blossomed like the lotus on the Nile surface. Ahmose-Nefertari was celebrated as the great royal wife, revered not only for her beauty but for her wisdom and devotion. She supported the renewal of sacred temples, ensured offerings to the gods flowed steadily, and protected the delicate balance between heaven and earth. Her image, often adorned with the sun disk and cow horns of Hathor, spoke of motherhood, joy, and nurturing strength, gifts she gave to her kingdom in abundance. Yet, as the warm sun must sometimes give way to the cool shade, A turning point arrived in her life and reign. The weight of leadership pressed on her shoulders, and the echoes of war lingered in every stone and stream. The sacrifices made by her family and people, the losses they endured to reclaim their homeland, carved quiet lines of sorrow into her spirit. Though no tales of cruelty or terror are found in the scrolls of time, the immense responsibility and trials she faced shaped her deeply. Throughout her life, Nefertari remained a pillar of steadfastness. Her reign was marked by peace and renewal rather than corruption or scandal. Instead of the harshness sometimes seen in rulers, she embodied compassion and strength in equal measure. Over time, her reverence grew so profound that she was honoured as a goddess herself, worshipped as a protector of the royal lineage and the land's eternal life. Her legacy became a gentle light, guiding future generations with the soft glow of hope and resilience. When her time on earth came to an end, the people mourned and celebrated her with great respect. She was laid to rest in the sacred city of Thebes, in a tomb befitting a queen who had nurtured a kingdom back to life. Her memory was kept alive not only in stone and song, but in the very soul of Egypt. Through centuries, priests called upon her name in prayers and rituals, believing her spirit watched over the land as a guardian and mother. Nefertari's life teaches us that true power often lies in love, in quiet perseverance, and in the gentle hands that rebuild what was broken. She reminds us that, even after the darkest nights, the dawn will always return, soft and sure. Her story is like the soothing flow of the Nile, steady, enduring and full of life. Now, as you settle into the quiet of night, imagine the peaceful currents of the Nile carrying the memories of Nefertari softly across the land. Feel the cool desert breeze brush gently over your skin, the fragrant scent of lotus blossoms calming your mind. Let the wisdom of this great queen wrap around you like a warm blanket, easing all tension and inviting restful peace. Breathe deeply and allow the quiet strength of her spirit to guide you gently into deep, comforting sleep. In the timeless land of Egypt, where the sun rises gently over the golden sands and the Nile flows like a quiet eternal song, lived a princess named Ankhesenamun. Born into a royal family touched by change and mystery, she was the daughter of Pharaoh Akhenaten and Queen Nefertiti, two rulers whose reign was like a breath of fresh air and a ripple of unrest at the same time. From her earliest days, Ankhesenamun's life was woven into the fabric of a kingdom searching for balance between old and new. Her childhood was spent surrounded by soft sunlight filtering through palace windows, the distant murmur of temple prayers, and the gentle hum of daily life. She grew up learning the sacred ways of her ancestors, but also witnessed her father's bold devotion to the sun disk, Aten, which stirred hope in some hearts and fear in others. Amid this shifting world, Ankhesenamun learned to be calm and strong, like the Nile itself, steady and enduring through every season. When she became queen, marrying her young brother Tutankhamun, it was a moment full of promise. Together, they stood as symbols of renewal, returning to the old gods and ancient traditions that had once been set aside. The early days of their reign were like the first rays of dawn, soft, warm, and full of hope. Temples were rebuilt, sacred rituals revived, and the people found comfort in the familiar rhythms of their faith. Ankhesenamun was a quiet presence beside her king, her strength gentle yet steady, like a comforting shadow under the blazing sun. But as the days passed, the gentle promise of their reign was clouded by challenges. Tutankhamun's health was fragile, and whispers of illness floated through the palace halls like autumn leaves carried by the wind. The young king's sudden death was a sorrowful storm that shook the very foundations of the kingdom. Alone, Ankhesenamun faced a world suddenly cold and uncertain, her heart heavy but her spirit unbroken. In those difficult moments, her courage shone quietly. Ancient records speak of her reaching beyond Egypt's borders, seeking allies in distant lands, a plea wrapped in hope and fear. Though she did not wield cruelty or terror, the shadows of court intrigue and danger closed in around her, testing her resilience in ways few could imagine. She moved through these trials with grace, a delicate flower bending but not breaking in the desert breeze. Her later life remains a gentle mystery, like a soft melody fading into the night. Some say she stepped away from the throne's bright glare, choosing peace over power. Others believe she continued to guide from behind the scenes, a quiet guardian of her people's legacy. Whatever the truth, her story is one of delicate strength, a reminder that even in the darkest times, a calm light can glow softly within. Now, as you prepare to drift into sleep, imagine the warm Egyptian night wrapping around you like a soft blanket. Feel the gentle night breeze brushing your skin, carrying the scent of lotus flowers and sweet myrrh. Picture the slow, steady flow of the Nile, whispering ancient lullabies that soothe the soul. Let Ankhesenamun's quiet courage and gentle spirit surround you, like a guardian watching over your dreams. Breathe in slowly. Deeply feel the calm settle in your chest like the quiet after a storm. Let your thoughts float away like the soft sands in a desert wind, leaving only peace behind. With every breath, feel yourself sinking deeper into comfort, wrapped in the timeless embrace of history's quiet strength. Let your mind rest easy, your heart light, as you're gently carried on the current of gentle dreams, soft and serene. As you close your eyes tonight, let the gentle courage and quiet strength of Ankhesenamun carry you softly into a world of dreams. Sleep well, dear traveller of history. Sweet dreams. In the gentle embrace of ancient Egypt's golden age, beneath skies painted with endless stars and the soft glow of the moon, there lived a woman named Mutambiya. She was not just any woman, but the beloved mother of one of Egypt's greatest pharaohs, Amenhotep III, a ruler whose reign shimmered with prosperity and peace. Mutambiya's story is woven quietly through the vast tapestry of history, a tale of strength, grace, and gentle influence that shaped the heart of a kingdom. Born into a noble family, Mutambiya's early years were surrounded by the soothing rhythms of temple chants and the fertile banks of the Nile. Her childhood was calm and filled with the simple joys of life, the soft rustle of papyrus reeds, the gentle flow of water, and the golden warmth of the sun on her skin. Raised with reverence for the gods and traditions, she learned the sacred duties expected of a royal woman. Her family's status brought her close to the pulse of power, but Mutambiya's nature was serene and humble, like the quiet dawn before a brilliant sunrise. As fate would have it, Mutambiya's life took a profound turn when she became the great royal wife of Thutmose IV, a respected pharaoh who ruled with wisdom and strength. Together they formed a partnership not just of duty but of mutual respect and shared hopes for Egypt's future. In the sacred halls of the palace, Mutambiya nurtured her role with gentle dignity, embodying the ideals of motherhood, loyalty, and grace. It was here that she gave birth to Amenhotep III, a child destined to lead Egypt into an era of unparalleled splendour. Amenhotep III's rise to the throne marked the beginning of a golden era, and through it all, Mutambiya's presence remained a comforting and guiding force. Though the young pharaoh ruled with great authority, it was the quiet counsel and loving support of his mother that helped steady the course of his reign. Her wisdom, gained through years of observing the ebb and flow of power, was a gentle light that illuminated the sometimes shadowy paths of leadership. She stood behind him like a silent guardian, her strength hidden but deeply felt. In the early years of Amenhotep III's rule, there was hope and promise shimmering like the mirage of the desert oasis. The kingdom flourished with grand temples rising to the skies, and festivals filled with music, dance, and joyous celebration. Mutambiya's influence was felt in the harmony that blossomed within the royal household. where traditions were honoured and the future dreamed of with open hearts. She embodied the enduring spirit of Egypt itself, steady, nurturing, and profoundly connected to the divine. But as with all stories that weave through the ages, moments of trial arrived. The vast power wielded by Amenhotep III brought with it the heavy burden of expectation and the subtle tensions of palace intrigue. Though Mutemwia's life remained largely free from scandal or cruelty, the weight of royal politics often pressed quietly upon her shoulders. Yet she met these challenges not with anger or fear, but with calm resilience and measured grace. Her character was a soothing balm in a world that could sometimes be harsh and unpredictable. Her later years unfolded with quiet dignity. Mutemwia witnessed the growth of her grandson, Amenhotep IV, later Akhenaten, whose reign would bring great change and upheaval to Egypt. Through these shifting tides, Mutemwia's legacy remained a symbol of stability and maternal strength, a reminder that behind every great ruler stands the gentle hand of those who nurture and guide. Though pages of history do not record the exact details of her final days, her memory lingers softly, like the last warm rays of the setting sun. Now, as you prepare to rest, imagine yourself drifting slowly down the Nile under a velvet sky sprinkled with stars. Feel the calm presence of Mutemwia beside you, her quiet strength wrapping you in a warm embrace. Hear the distant song of temple chants, mingling with the gentle rustle of palm leaves in the evening breeze. Let your breath slow and soften like the river's gentle flow, carrying you toward a peaceful sleep filled with soft dreams and gentle light. Allow the serene grace of Mutemwia's story to soothe your mind and heart, calming the day's worries and inviting restful tranquility. As your eyes grow heavy, picture the peaceful harmony of ancient Egypt's golden age, where strength and kindness walked hand in hand beneath the watchful gaze of the gods. Let this comforting vision guide you gently into the quiet world of dreams, where all is still, safe, and softly bright. As you close your eyes tonight, let the nurturing spirit of Mutemwia carry you gently into a world of dreams. Sleep well, dear traveller of history. Sweet dreams. In the golden tapestry of ancient Egypt's timeless history, there exists a title, a name wrapped in mystery and honour, Khenemetnefer-Hedjet. This was not the name of just one woman, but a sacred title bestowed upon the many royal women, a symbol of divine grace and royal dignity that echoed softly through the halls of the pharaoh's palaces. Tonight let us drift gently into the story of this title and the noble women who carried it, wrapped in the soft glow of history and the quiet calm of night. The phrase Khenemetnefer-Hedjet means she who is united with the white crown, a symbol of the kingship of Upper Egypt. It was a mark of deep respect and reverence given to queens and royal wives who stood beside the pharaohs as pillars of strength and grace. These women were not just ornaments of the throne, they were the heartbeats of the kingdom, guiding the spirit of Egypt with quiet wisdom and unwavering devotion. They were born into lives of privilege, yet their roles carried the heavy weight of responsibility and the delicate balance of power. Imagine their early days spent in the golden light of the palace, surrounded by the soft hum of servants and the distant echoes of temple prayers. These royal women grew up learning the sacred traditions of their land, understanding the rhythms of the Nile and absorbing the ancient wisdom passed down through generations. Their childhoods were filled with gentle teachings about the gods and the eternal cycle of life, preparing them to one day wear the crown that symbolized unity and divine favor. As they rose to their esteemed positions, these queens found themselves at the center of the kingdom's heart. Their ascent was often intertwined with family ties, marriage alliances, and the intricate dance of royal politics. With grace and subtle power, they navigated the complex world of court life, becoming trusted companions and advisors to the pharaohs. Their early reigns, filled with hope and promise, saw them supporting monumental building projects, overseeing religious ceremonies, and embodying the ideal of feminine strength that balanced the king's rule. Yet, as with all journeys touched by history's hand, there were moments that tested their spirits. The shifting tides of politics, the burden of expectations, and sometimes the shadows of palace intrigue could cloud their serene lives, though records rarely speak of cruelty or scandal tied directly to these royal women. The pressures of their station sometimes brought sorrow and sacrifice. Through it all, the bearers of the title Khenemet-Nefer-Hedjet held steadfast, their dignity unbroken like the eternal stones of the temples they helped consecrate. In their later years, these queens often became matriarchs and wise elders, their influence stretching beyond their lifetimes through their children and the legacies they nurtured. They were the silent architects of stability, weaving peace and continuity into the fabric of Egyptian rule. Their lives remind us that true power often dwells in quiet strength, in patience, and in the gentle touch of wisdom that guides without force. Now, as you lie down to rest, picture yourself beneath a vast Egyptian sky, where stars shimmer softly like jewels scattered across a velvet cloak. Feel the calm presence of these noble women surrounding you, their ancient grace wrapping around your heart like a warm shawl. Hear the gentle rustle of papyrus reeds by the Nile's edge, and the distant soothing chant of temple priests carried on a soft breeze. Let your breath slow and deepen, flowing steady and calm like the sacred river itself. Allow the timeless spirit of Khenemet-Nefer-Hedjet to settle over you like a quiet lullaby, easing away the worries of the day. Imagine the soft glow of lanterns flickering in the palace halls, the peaceful rhythm of the Nile's waters, and the steady pulse of history's gentle embrace. Let these images carry you gently, step by step, toward a restful sleep filled with serene dreams and soothing light. As your eyelids grow heavy, feel yourself drifting on the gentle current of time, cradled by the enduring grace of those royal women who once wore the white crown. Let their quiet strength and calm dignity guide you into a night of peaceful rest, where your dreams unfold softly beneath the watchful eyes of the stars. As you close your eyes tonight, let the timeless grace of Khenemet-Nefer-Hedjet carry you gently into a world of dreams. Sleep well, dear traveller of history. Sweet dreams. In the quiet dawn of ancient Egypt's storied past, where the sands stretch endless beneath a blazing sun and the Nile flows like a sacred artery through the land, lived a woman named Henutui, a princess and priestess whose life was deeply intertwined with both the royal bloodline and the spiritual heartbeat of her nation. As the daughter of a powerful royal family, Henutui was born into a world where power and faith were inseparable, and her story unfolds like a gentle river, weaving through the realms of duty, devotion, and quiet strength. Tonight, as you prepare to drift into sleep, let us walk softly through the life of Henutui, embracing every detail with calm reverence, inviting peace to cradle your thoughts and guide you into restful dreams. Henutui's beginnings were wrapped in the warmth of royal lineage and the sacred rituals of a dynasty devoted to gods and kings alike. From the moment of her birth, she was surrounded by the shimmering golds and vibrant colours of the Egyptian court, where her family ruled not only by power but by divine right. Her childhood was spent beneath the towering columns of the palace and temples, learning the language of the gods through stories whispered by priests and the serene hymns that floated through sunlit halls. She grew with an awareness that she was part of something greater, a living thread in the eternal fabric of Egypt's legacy. Her path was destined to be unique, for Henutui was not only a royal daughter, but was also chosen to serve as a priestess, a sacred intermediary between the mortal world and the divine. This rise was no mere accident of birth. It was a calling answered with grace and steadfast devotion. The journey from princess to priestess required learning ancient rites, mastering sacred chants and embodying the virtues of purity and wisdom that the gods demanded. With each ritual she performed, she wove herself deeper into the spiritual life of the kingdom, becoming a guardian of Egypt's most profound mysteries. In the early years of her priesthood, Hanutuwi's presence was a beacon of hope and reverence. She participated in grand ceremonies honoring gods like Amun, Osiris, and Isis, her voice lifting in melodic chants that echoed through vast temple courtyards. These moments of sacred communion were filled with promise, a balance of earthly rule and divine favor. Her role was not one of mere ornament. She was a spiritual guide, a calming force who helped maintain the harmony between gods and people. The temples she served in were alive with incense and the gentle flicker of oil lamps, a sanctuary where the chaos of the world could be soothed by faith. Yet, the life of a priestess, even one of royal blood, was not without its challenges. The political landscape of the time was complex, and the pressures of balancing familial loyalty with spiritual duty weighed heavily upon Hanutuwi's shoulders. Though history does not tell us of scandal or cruelty connected to her name, the subtle strains of palace intrigue and the immense responsibility she bore could not have been light. Her story is one of quiet resilience, the strength to remain steadfast in faith amid shifting sands, and the courage to uphold sacred traditions through times both calm and uncertain. As years passed, Hanutuwi's influence grew beyond the temple walls. She became a mentor to younger priestesses, passing on the ancient wisdom and rituals that sustained Egypt's spiritual life. Through her dedication, the continuity of faith was preserved, ensuring that the connection between gods and mortals remained unbroken. Her life reminds us that power is not always loud or violent. Often, it is the gentle persistence of devotion, the quiet guidance of wisdom, and the serene confidence of belief that shapes the destiny of nations. Now, as you lie in the peaceful stillness of your own world, picture yourself walking through an ancient temple at dusk. The air is cool and fragrant with lotus and myrrh, the soft glow of lanterns casting dancing shadows on stone walls carved with sacred symbols. You hear the distant sound of chanting, a soothing melody that seems to ripple through the air like the flowing Nile itself. Feel the presence of Hanutuwi, a calm and steady spirit beside you, her devotion wrapping around you like a warm blanket, a gentle shield against the worries of the day. Take a deep breath, slow and steady, as if breathing in the sacred air of the temple itself. Let your mind drift on the gentle currents of ancient prayers, carried softly by a breeze that whispers through papyrus reeds. Let each thought dissolve like morning mist, replaced by calm and comfort. The stars begin to shimmer above the desert horizon, and with them the timeless grace of Hanutuwi shines softly, inviting you to rest. As your eyelids grow heavier, imagine yourself embraced by the serene legacy of this royal priestess, whose quiet strength and unwavering faith have endured through millennia. Let her gentle spirit guide you into a deep, peaceful sleep where dreams flow like the sacred Nile, calm, endless, and full of quiet light. As you close your eyes tonight, let the peaceful spirit of Hanutuwi carry you gently into a world of dreams. Sleep well, dear traveller of history. Sweet dreams. In the quiet stillness of ancient Egypt's fading day, where the golden sands stretch endlessly under a sky painted with soft hues of dusk, lived a princess whose name gently echoes through the corridors of time, Bedtime, daughter of the great pharaoh Ramses III. Tonight, as you prepare to close your eyes and float into a peaceful sleep, let us softly journey through her life, a life filled with quiet strength, royal grace, and deep devotion, inviting calmness to wrap around your heart like a comforting shawl. Born into the illustrious house of Ramses III, Bedtime entered a world where power, tradition, and the sacred dance between gods and mortals intertwined. Her childhood unfolded within the serene walls of a magnificent palace, where the cool stone halls smelled faintly of lotus blossoms and burning incense. Surrounded by loving caretakers, tutors, and priests, she learned the ancient stories of Egypt's gods and the noble ways of the royal family. Each lesson, each gentle word shaped her into a princess who embodied wisdom and poise, qualities as enduring as the pyramids themselves. Though she was born into privilege, Baketamon's life was far from idle. The daughter of a mighty pharaoh, her destiny was tied to the fortunes of Egypt. As she grew, she absorbed the rhythms of palace life, the soft rustle of linen garments, the melodic chants of temple rituals, and the steady flow of the Nile, which sustained the land and all who dwelled upon it. Her days were filled with moments both grand and simple, watching the sun rise over the river, listening to the distant songs of harpists, and offering silent prayers to Hathor and Isis, the goddesses who watched over women and royalty. Baketamon's role, though quieter than that of her warrior father, was vital. She was a living bridge between the divine and the earthly, a symbol of continuity during times that could be uncertain. In the tender glow of twilight festivals, she would have stood beside priests and nobles, her presence a blessing upon the sacred ceremonies that kept Egypt's heart beating strong. These moments shimmered with promise, as her gentle strength and unwavering faith inspired those around her. Life in the royal palace was not without its challenges. The weight of expectation was heavy, and though history whispers little of scandals or cruelty linked to Baketamon, the subtle pressures of palace intrigue and shifting fortunes must have touched her days. The quiet perseverance she showed in the face of these unseen trials speaks to a spirit both resilient and kind, a spirit that found refuge in the sacred rituals and the steady flow of the Nile's life-giving waters. As the years passed like the gentle currents of the great river, Baketamon's presence remained a calm and steady light. She did not seek the throne, yet her devotion to the gods and her support for temple priests helped preserve the harmony that Egypt needed to flourish. In the quiet moments before sleep, perhaps she too looked out over the desert's vast horizon, finding peace in the eternal dance of stars and moonlight. Now, as you lie in your own peaceful space, imagine yourself walking through the cool, shadowed corridors of an ancient Egyptian palace. The air is filled with the soft fragrance of frankincense and myrrh, and the flicker of oil lamps casts gentle shadows upon the walls. Feel the calm presence of Baketamon beside you, a guardian of quiet strength and timeless grace. Let her peaceful spirit settle softly around you, wrapping you in calm like the softest silk. Breathe deeply, as if inhaling the sacred air of the Nile's temple gardens. With each breath, release the day's worries, allowing your mind to drift gently like a lotus petal floating on still waters. The stars above begin their silent vigil, twinkling softly as the desert night deepens, inviting you into a restful, restorative sleep. Let the tranquil spirit of Baketamon guide you now into dreams filled with light, peace, and gentle whispers of ancient songs. Rest easy, wrapped in the warmth of history's embrace. As you close your eyes tonight, let the calm grace of Baketamon carry you gently into a world of dreams. Sleep well, dear traveller of history. Sweet dreams. Under the soft velvety cloak of night, where stars sprinkle the vast Egyptian sky like diamonds, let us drift gently into the life of Isetnofret, beloved wife of Ramses II, a queen whose story is woven with quiet strength, tender loyalty, and the gentle grace of ancient times. As you nestle deeper into your bed, let her journey calm your thoughts and ease you into peaceful sleep. Isetnofret was born into a world bathed in the golden glow of the New Kingdom, a time when Egypt flourished under mighty pharaohs and the gods whispered their blessings on the land. Though details of her childhood remain delicate and faint like the softest breeze, it is believed she hailed from a noble family, one connected closely with the royal court, destined to walk the hallowed halls of power. Imagine her as a young girl, perhaps wandering through lush palace gardens, fragrant with jasmine and lotus, learning the ancient songs and prayers that would guide her through life. Her rise to prominence came quietly but surely. Isetnofrey became one of the principal wives of Ramses II, a pharaoh whose reign would become legendary for its power and grandeur. As his consort, she shared in the immense responsibility of nurturing the royal lineage and upholding the sacred traditions that bound the people to their gods and rulers. Though she was not the only queen by his side, her influence was marked by dignity and a gentle strength that steadied king and the kingdom alike. In those early years beside Ramses II, hope and promise shimmered like the Nile at dawn. Isetnofret stood as a symbol of stability amidst the bustle of a vast empire, expanding with every passing day. Her presence was a soothing balm in the royal court, a quiet anchor amid celebrations, political intrigue, and the distant echoes of battles. The palace walls, rich with the scent of sandalwood and papyrus scrolls, echoed softly with laughter and whispered plans for the future. But even in the calmest of waters the tides shift. Life's turning points often come unbidden, and for Isetnofret moments of trial and change likely tested her resolve. The great Ramses II's many wives and children created a complex web of alliances and rivalries within the palace. Though no records speak of cruelty or terror linked directly to her, the court's delicate balance demanded wisdom, patience, and sometimes quiet sacrifice. The weight of expectation, the unyielding demands of royal duty, all these were hers to bear with grace. Through the years, Isetnofret's reign as queen remained one of steadfast dedication. She nurtured her children, some of whom would rise to carry the legacy of Ramses II forward. She supported the king's ambitious building projects and religious ceremonies, ensuring that Egypt's gods were honoured and the people's faith remained strong. Her life was not one of dramatic upheaval, but of persistent care, a gentle weaving of love and duty that sustained the kingdom's heart. As her time in the sun slowly faded, Isetnofret's story became a quiet echo among the bustling chronicles of Egypt's grand history. Her death, like her life, passed with the dignity of a river gently flowing toward the sea. Though the sands of time have covered many details, her memory endures as a symbol of devotion and the soft, enduring strength that shaped a powerful era. Now, as you rest your head and close your eyes, picture yourself beside Isetnofret in a peaceful garden shaded by date palms, the soft hum of cicadas in the air, and the distant murmur of the Nile's gentle flow. Feel the calm of her presence, a reminder that even in the vastness of history, quiet grace holds deep power. Let her serenity soothe your mind and cradle your dreams in softness. Breathe slowly, deeply, as if inhaling the fragrant air of a temple at dusk. Let every exhale release the tensions of your day, and with each breath drift further into restful calm. The stars above twinkle gently, guardians of night's peace, watching over you as you journey into a world of dreams filled with light and tranquility. As you close your eyes tonight, let the gentle spirit of Isetnofret guide you softly into a realm of rest. Sleep well, dear traveller of history. Sweet dreams. Under the vast canopy of a velvet night sky, where stars shimmer like ancient jewels scattered across the heavens, let us drift softly into the story of Nefertari, the beloved queen of Ramses II. Imagine the gentle lull of the Nile flowing nearby, its waters whispering timeless secrets as the warm breeze caresses your skin. Let this tale wrap you in calm and carry you into restful dreams. Nefertari's beginnings are wrapped in the mists of history, her early days unfolding like a delicate flower in the fertile valley of the Nile. Born into a noble family, she was raised surrounded by the quiet rhythms of the river and the sacred traditions of Egypt. Picture her as a young girl, walking barefoot along the soft sands, her laughter mingling with the songs of birds at dawn. Her childhood was steeped in lessons of grace, kindness, and the sacred responsibilities that awaited her as a future queen. When she grew, Nefertari's beauty and wisdom caught the eye of Ramses II, one of Egypt's greatest pharaohs. Their meeting was not just a joining of hearts, but a powerful union that would shape the destiny of a kingdom. She became his great royal wife, a title that reflected not only her striking appearance, but her influence and strength. In the grand halls of the palace, she was his closest companion and trusted advisor, a source of calm amidst the whirlwind of royal duties. In the early years of her queenship, Nefertari brought warmth and hope to the court. Her presence was like a gentle light that brightened the lives around her. The people adored her, and priests honored her devotion to the gods. The walls of temples and tombs were adorned with images of her serene and radiant, dressed in exquisite robes, her smile soft yet powerful. These sacred places whispered stories of her kindness, her wisdom, and her deep connection to the divine. As time passed, the weight of ruling a vast empire rested more heavily on Ramses II, and Nefertari's role deepened. She was no longer just the beloved queen, but a guiding star for her family and her people. In a world filled with political challenges and the demands of leadership, she remained steady and wise. Her spirit was a gentle anchor, providing strength and comfort through every change and trial. Nefertari's story is one without cruelty or terror. Instead, it is woven from threads of love, dignity, and enduring grace. She nurtured her children, supported sacred rites, and ensured the temples flourished. Her legacy is one of harmony and balance, a reminder that true power can be found in compassion and quiet strength. As her life gently came to a close, Nefertari's memory was etched forever in the grand temple of Abu Simbel, carved beside Ramses II in stone and story. There, her image stands timeless, a beacon of beauty, wisdom, and peace for all who gaze upon her. Now, imagine yourself walking slowly through the moonlit gardens of her palace, where lotus flowers open softly beneath the stars and the air is filled with the sweet scent of jasmine. The night is still, and the world feels calm and safe. The gentle murmur of the Nile soothes your ears, as distant harps play a lullaby meant just for you. Breathe in deeply the calm of this peaceful night, letting the warmth and quiet of Nefertari's world fill your heart. With each breath, feel yourself drifting further into relaxation, your body sinking into softness, your mind becoming a tranquil river flowing gently toward dreams. Let go of all worries, knowing that you are cradled by the timeless grace of a queen who once walked these lands with strength and kindness. Allow her serene spirit to guide you into a night of deep, restful sleep. As you close your eyes tonight, let the gentle grace of Nefertari carry you softly into a world of dreams. Sleep well, dear traveller of history. Sweet dreams. As twilight slowly deepens over the golden sands of ancient Egypt, imagine the tranquil Nile flowing softly beneath the stars. Let your body settle, your mind quiet, and your breath ease as you drift gently into the story of Meretra Hatshepsut, the graceful queen who stood beside one of Egypt's greatest pharaohs. Meretra Hatshepsut's beginnings are wrapped in the soft glow of Egypt's noble lineage, though many details of her early life remain like a whispered secret. It is clear she was born into a world shaped by tradition, ceremony, and devotion to the gods. Picture a young girl, her skin kissed by the warm sun, her eyes wide with wonder as she learned the ancient hymns and watched the priests weave their sacred rituals beneath towering temple columns. She grew up with stories of kings and queens, gods and heroes, imbuing her spirit with the gentle strength that would one day make her an anchor to a great dynasty. Her rise to the royal throne was not by conquest but by union, becoming the great royal wife to Thutmose III, the powerful warrior pharaoh who expanded Egypt's borders to their greatest extent. Meritra Hatshepsut was much more than a queen in title. She was a confidant, a mother, and a pillar of wisdom in the bustling court. The palace echoed with her quiet grace, her gentle footsteps upon polished stone halls marking the steady rhythm of a calm heart amid the pressures of royal life. In those early years beside Thutmose III, there was a sense of promise and harmony. The people revered her for her kindness and poise, and the priests honoured her as a divine consort whose presence blessed the land with prosperity. Imagine her in the palace gardens, fragrant with blooming jasmine and lotus flowers, where the golden light of the sun warmed her face and the soft breeze carried the songs of birds. She embodied balance, firm yet tender, regal yet approachable, casting a serene glow over the kingdom. But life within the royal court was never without its shadows. As years passed, the demands of governance, the intrigues of nobles, and the ever-watchful eyes of the gods tested her resilience. Yet, unlike many rulers of her time, Meritra Hatshepsut's story does not twist into cruelty or scandal. Instead, it is a tale of quiet perseverance. She used her influence wisely, nurturing her children and safeguarding the legacy of her husband's reign. Her love for her son, Amenhotep II, was a beacon of hope for the future, guiding the throne towards stability and peace. The final chapter of her life remains softly veiled in the mists of history, but it is believed that she passed away surrounded by the reverence of those who knew her. Perhaps in a sunlit chamber adorned with fragrant oils and sacred incense, she breathed her last, her spirit gently released to join the eternal cycle of the Nile's waters. Her memory lingers like a gentle lullaby, whispered through temple walls and echoed in the prayers of those who came after her. Now, imagine yourself reclining beneath a canopy of stars, the cool desert air wrapping around you like a soft blanket. The gentle ripple of the Nile soothes your mind, while the scent of lotus and myrrh fills the night. Each breath you take is calm and even, carrying away the day's worries as your body grows heavier with restful peace. Feel the warmth of ancient sands beneath you and the quiet strength of a queen whose grace has travelled through time to cradle you in comfort. Let your thoughts drift with the slow flow of the river, your muscles melting into softness as the night deepens. The story of Meritra Hatshepsut wraps around you like a gentle embrace, steady and kind, carrying you toward the sweetest sleep. Allow yourself to float now, carried on a current of serene dreams, embraced by the tranquil spirit of a queen who stood quietly strong amidst the sands of time. Rest here, wrapped in calmness and history's gentle touch, until morning's light gently wakes you renewed. As you close your eyes tonight, let the serene strength of Meritra Hatshepsut carry you softly into a world of dreams. Sleep well, dear traveller of history, sweet dreams. Beneath the endless canopy of stars stretching gently over the timeless Nile, let us journey softly into the life of Sitamun, a royal woman whose quiet strength shaped the heart of Egypt's glorious new kingdom. As you settle down, feel the calmness around you deepen, and let this story flow gently like a slow river, inviting peace and rest. Sitamun was born into a world shimmering with gold and sacred rituals, the beloved daughter of Amenhotep III, one of Egypt's most powerful and revered pharaohs. From the moment she entered this world, her life was cradled by ancient traditions and the tender care of palace walls, filled with whispers of gods and kings. Imagine a young girl wrapped in fine linens, surrounded by the soft murmur of priests chanting prayers and the delicate fragrance of lotus flowers drifting through sunlit chambers. Her childhood was one of both privilege and responsibility, a delicate balance between the innocence of youth and the weight of royal destiny. As she grew, Sitamun was gently taught the sacred ways that linked Egypt's rulers to the divine. She learned to walk with grace, to listen with wisdom, and to carry herself with the quiet dignity expected of those destined for greatness. The palace was alive with the sounds of harp music, the gentle clinking of jewellery, and the soft footsteps of servants moving like shadows. It was in this world of serene beauty that Citamon blossomed, her presence a symbol of hope and continuity for the kingdom. In time, her path became closely entwined with that of her father, Amenhotep III. In the ancient tradition of royal lineage, Citamon became not only his cherished daughter but also his wife. This sacred union, though unusual by today's eyes, was a powerful symbol of divine unity and the eternal nature of the throne. Picture Citamon, adorned with golden collars and intricate bracelets, her eyes calm and steady beneath a finely braided headdress. Her role was one of profound honour, linking the earthly reign to the gods themselves. The early days of her marriage were marked by peace and prosperity. The palace buzzed with joyous festivals celebrating the gods, and the Nile's gentle waters reflected the light of countless torches. Citamon's presence was like a soothing balm, a quiet strength that brought calm and reassurance. She moved with a gentle elegance through gardens blooming with papyrus and jasmine, her laughter soft as the breeze that stirred the palm leaves. To the people of Egypt, she was a living promise of the future, a symbol of beauty and balance in a world ruled by order and harmony. Yet, even in this golden age, the sands of time brought change. Though history holds only whispers of Citamon's later life, we can sense the subtle shifts that came with growing responsibilities and the inevitable challenges faced by a royal family. The burdens of power, the delicate dance of court politics, and the ever-present watchful eyes of priests and nobles must have weighed quietly on her shoulders. Through it all, she remained a figure of serene grace, a steadfast presence amid the shifting tides of empire. As the years passed, Citamon's light gently dimmed, her story fading into the calm folds of history. But the essence of her life, a life marked not by loud battles or dramatic upheavals, but by a peaceful strength and quiet dignity, lingers like the soft scent of lotus on a warm night breeze. Imagine her resting in a chamber bathed in the soft glow of oil lamps, surrounded by the gentle murmur of the Nile flowing beyond palace walls. The air is fragrant with frankincense, and the gentle flicker of candlelight casts soothing shadows that dance slowly across the walls. Now, as you lie comfortably, let your breath slow and deepen, like the steady pulse of the river that nourished ancient Egypt. Feel the calmness grow in your body, the gentle quiet wrapping around you like a soft, warm blanket. Let the story of Citamon, a woman of quiet power, grace and enduring peace, lull your mind to stillness. You are safe here, embraced by the tender embrace of history and the gentle night. Let your eyelids grow heavy as the stars twinkle softly overhead. Drift into the soothing flow of dreams, carried on the tranquil river of ancient times, where the soft whispers of the past wrap you in calm and serenity. Rest now, dear dreamer, cradled by the timeless beauty of Egypt's enduring night. As you close your eyes tonight, let the gentle spirit of Citamon carry you softly into a world of peaceful dreams. Sleep well, dear traveller of history. Sweet dreams. In the vast and timeless land of ancient Egypt, beneath skies that stretched wide and endless like a quiet ocean, there lived a woman named Nebet. She was no ordinary woman. She carried the weight of kingdoms and the wisdom of ages within her gentle gaze. As you lie down now, feeling the softness of your bed and the quiet breath of the night around you, let yourself be carried away by the peaceful story of Nebet, a noble woman whose calm strength shaped a civilization long ago. Nebet was born into a world bathed in the golden light of the sun, a world where mighty pharaohs ruled and the great Nile River wove life into the land. From her earliest days, she was surrounded by love and tradition. Her family belonged to the noble class, and from childhood she was taught the secrets of balance, harmony, and justice. values that were the heart of Egyptian life. Picture her as a young girl, her dark hair falling softly around her shoulders, her curious eyes wide with wonder as she learned about the gods who watched over Egypt and the laws that kept the land in peace. As she grew, Nebet's mind blossomed like the lotus flowers floating gently on the Nile's surface. Her intelligence and grace made her stand out among her peers, and soon she was chosen for a role few women held, that of a vizier, the highest official next to the pharaoh. Imagine her stepping into the great palace halls, her robes flowing like soft silk, her posture regal yet approachable. Her voice was calm and measured, a soothing balm in the bustling court, where whispers and ambitions swirled like desert sands. In those early days of her service, Nebet brought hope and clarity. She was known for her fairness and her kind heart, a guiding light in a world where power could sometimes lead to darkness. She worked quietly but tirelessly, balancing the demands of the throne with the needs of the people. Imagine her walking slowly through the palace gardens, where fragrant jasmine and blooming palms whispered ancient secrets, her thoughts deep and peaceful as the water mirrors reflecting the sky. Yet even the wisest and strongest face moments that test their resolve, the pressures of leadership weighed on Nebet, and though history does not speak of cruelty or corruption in her time, one can imagine the loneliness that often accompanies great responsibility. The palace could be a place of shadows, where trust was precious and the heart had to be guarded. Picture the soft flicker of oil lamps as Nebet sat alone in her chamber at night, her mind steady like the stars shining calmly above the desert. There she gathered strength from the quiet, reminding herself of her purpose, to serve with wisdom and to protect the land she loved. Nebet's years as vizier were a time of steady rule and thoughtful guidance. She helped maintain the delicate balance of justice and mercy, keeping the kingdom safe from chaos and helping the pharaoh rule wisely. Imagine her hands, gentle but sure, guiding the scales of justice with care, ensuring that every voice was heard and every wrong was met with fairness. The people respected her not only for her power, but for the kindness she showed in every decision. As time passed, Nebet's story slowly came to a close, like the soft setting of the sun behind the distant pyramids. Though the details of her final days remain wrapped in the gentle mists of history, we can imagine her resting beside the serene banks of the Nile, the river's calm waters reflecting the soft glow of the moon. The quiet songs of night birds drifted on the warm air, and the fragrant scent of lotus blossoms filled the garden where she once walked. In this peaceful moment, Nebet's spirit seemed to merge with the timeless rhythm of Egypt itself, steady, wise, and calm. Now, as you listen to her story, feel the deep peace that Nebet's life brings, like a gentle river flowing softly through your mind. Let your breath slow and deepen, your body sinking comfortably into your bed. Imagine yourself beside Nebet, walking slowly through moonlit gardens, the air cool and fragrant, your heart light and free of worry. With every breath, feel the calm strength of this noble woman wrap around you like a warm, comforting shawl. Let the stillness of the ancient night soothe your thoughts, carrying you gently into restful sleep. Dream softly now, dear traveller, as the wisdom and grace of Nebet guide you through peaceful waters and starry skies. As you close your eyes tonight, let the calm spirit of Nebet carry you softly into a world of restful dreams. Sleep well, dear traveller of history. Sweet dreams. In the quiet folds of ancient time, where the winds whispered through temple columns and the stars shimmered over the sands of Thebes, lived a woman named Karamama. Her name, like a song carried by the desert breeze, was once spoken with reverence and grace. She was no queen in title, yet her presence held divine weight, for Karamama was the god's wife of Amun, a sacred title reserved for the most honoured women of the new kingdom. Tonight, as you rest beneath the veil of your own starlit sky, allow the gentle current of her story to guide you toward peace, stillness, and dreams. Karamama was born into a lineage of power and ceremony, possibly the daughter of a high-ranking pharaoh or noble priest. She arrived into the world with the quiet dignity of moonlight on stone. Her childhood was likely spent among silken curtains and temple gardens, learning the sacred rites, the ancient hymns, and the language of gods whispered in low, steady tones. She was cradled not only in comfort, but in a destiny older than the pyramids themselves. As she matured, Karamama's grace unfolded like a lotus flower on the Nile. She was chosen to serve as the god's wife of Amun, a role more than ceremonial. It was spiritual, political, and deeply intimate with the rhythm of the land. Imagine her standing beneath towering temple walls, her eyes lined with kohl, her hands raised gently in sacred gesture as she spoke prayers to the sky, her voice soft and sure like a lullaby over sacred waters. The people revered her as the embodiment of divine feminine power. She was both priestess and protector, advisor and bridge between heaven and earth. In her early role, Karamama brought a sense of calm renewal. The temples under her care flourished, adorned with offerings and filled with the sweet scent of incense. Her presence became a blessing, a gentle hush in chaotic times. She was seen as a peacemaker, a quiet strength behind the crown, often guiding policies through sacred counsel. The statues and reliefs that survive show her in graceful posture, adorned in intricate jewelry and ceremonial garments, every curve of her figure carved with love and reverence. Her image still seems to hum with a quiet, sacred power. But as in all lives, even the most serene paths are touched by winds of change. A turning point came, perhaps in the form of courtly intrigue, shifting dynasties, or a struggle between temple and throne. Whispers rose like desert sandstorms, and Karamama, once untouched by worldly trials, may have found herself drawn into the silent tension between pharaoh and priesthood. The sacred title she bore, once purely spiritual, now held the weight of political influence. Still, Karamama did not descend into cruelty or scandal. Rather, she adapted with wisdom. Her voice remained measured, her gaze steady. Yet one can imagine the loneliness, those quiet temple halls that once offered solace now echoing with uncertainty. The moonlight that once danced freely on stone floors of her chamber perhaps began to seem colder, more distant. But Karamama, ever the sacred wife of the divine, bore it with poise. Like the Nile's steady flow, she endured. Her later years were quieter, perhaps spent in reflection and prayer. She may have passed her title to a successor, her role becoming one of guidance rather than ritual. As her mortal days waned, she would have watched the sun set over the Theban hills, knowing she had lived not for herself, but for a tradition older than memory. She had been the voice of devotion, the keeper of divine femininity, in a world ruled by power and legacy. And so, Karamama's life came gently to an end, like the slow extinguishing of an oil lamp as dawn begins to break. No violent fall, no bitter exile, only the soft sigh of a soul returning to the stars. In her final rest, perhaps she was surrounded by temple singers, their voices rising in sacred chants as lotus blossoms floated on still waters. Her body, lovingly prepared, may have been laid to rest among priestesses under protective spells and golden wrappings, her spirit welcomed by the gods she once served so faithfully. Today, her legacy whispers through the corridors of Karnak and Luxor, her name still etched in stone as a symbol of divine womanhood. Karamama is remembered not as a ruler of armies, but as a ruler of hearts, of prayers, and of stillness. Her story is a gentle stream in the grand river of Egyptian history, one that soothes rather than stirs. Now, dear listener, feel her calm settle into your chest. Feel the breath of those ancient temple breezes brushing softly across your thoughts. Let Karamama's life wrap around you like linen soaked in lavender, like moonlight on polished alabaster. In this peaceful moment, there is no need for worry, no noise, no future or past, only the sacred stillness of now. Let yourself drift gently into dreams where temples glow with golden light and the stars hum softly above you. The world is quiet, your body is safe, your spirit is free. As you close your eyes tonight, let the grace of Karamama carry you into the hush of peaceful dreams. Sleep well, dear traveller of history. Sweet dreams. Wow. Close your eyes now, dear listener, and allow your breath to soften. Let the hush of ancient winds carry you away across the Mediterranean to a time when empires rose and fell like the tide and the fate of nations could rest on the shoulders of a single child. In this twilight of gods and rulers, a daughter was born, not just of Egypt, but of destiny. Her name was Cleopatra Selene. She entered the world as the moon waxed above Alexandria's gleaming palaces, a daughter of two titans, Queen Cleopatra the Seventh of Egypt and the Roman general Mark Antony. Born of passion, politics and power, Selene's infancy was wrapped in silks and golden sunlight. The walls of her mother's palace were tall and bright, with mosaic floors cooled by fountains and shaded by blue lotus blossoms. Servants whispered lullabies in ancient tongues, and musicians played soft lyre tunes that echoed through the marble halls. Her mother Cleopatra, the last true pharaoh of Egypt, had once ruled with brilliance and command, and her father Antony, a hero of Rome, was mighty and proud. Together they dreamed of empires joined, kingdoms united. But dreams, like papyrus in the flood, are fragile things. Soon, Rome turned its eyes toward Egypt with envy and fire. Octavian, soon to be Augustus, waged war against Selene's parents. Battle drums rolled over desert dunes, and ships clashed in the waters where dolphins once played. And then came the end, a kingdom lost, a queen's farewell, a father's fall. When the smoke cleared, Selene and her twin brother Alexander Helios were taken, orphans of empire, escorted across the sea as spoils of war. The marble city of Rome loomed ahead, vast and cold, and in its streets the children of Cleopatra were paraded in chains during a triumphal march. But even then, even as the crowds roared and the city glared with strange grandeur, there was something unbroken in Selene, a quiet dignity. The moon was her namesake, and like the moon she endured, glowing softly even through darkest nights. She was raised in the household of Octavia, the kind sister of Augustus and former wife of her father. Under Octavia's care, Selene was educated in languages, philosophy, politics and astronomy. But she also studied memory, the way her mother used scent, symbolism and story to rule the hearts of her people. Selene learned not only how to survive, but how to shine in shadow. In time, Augustus gave her in marriage to Juba II, the scholarly and noble king of Mauritania. He too had known Rome's chains and had risen beyond them. Together, Selene and Juba became a union of intellect, resilience and royalty. They travelled to Mauritania, to lands kissed by the warm winds of North Africa, where red hills met the sky and olives grew in silver-leaved groves. There she did not mourn what she had lost. Instead, she built what had never been. Selene transformed Caesarea, the capital city, into a thriving centre of learning and beauty. She brought with her the elegance of Egypt, the knowledge of Rome, and the spirit of Greece. Her court glittered with philosophers, artists, engineers. Temples rose with lotus columns and painted walls. Gardens bloomed with sycamores and myrrh. She had the coins minted with her image, serene and commanding, a queen reborn from ashes. In her palace there was a chamber of stars, its ceiling painted with constellations, its walls lined with scrolls and carvings. Here she would sit by candlelight telling her own children stories of Isis and Osiris, of the Nile's rise, of Alexandria's lighthouse, tall as memory. She would hum the lullabies her mother once sang, now echoes in a different land. And when the moon was high and the breeze soft, Selene would walk in her garden barefoot, feeling the earth beneath her, a woman of many worlds yet grounded, strong. She had lost a kingdom, yet built one anew. She had been a captive, yet ruled with grace. She was not her mother's shadow, but her light's continuation. Now, dear dreamer, let her story settle into your spirit like the hush of midnight. Let the rustling palm leaves of Mauritania sway gently in your mind. Feel the glow of moonlight on carved stone. Smell the sweet resin of cedarwood. Hear the soft splash of water in her garden fountain. Cleopatra Selene whispers now through time. Not of loss, but of strength. Not of despair, but of rebirth. She teaches us that even in the fall of dynasties, hope can bloom like a white lotus under stars. So breathe slowly. Inhale calm, exhale weight. Let her memory wrap around you like a warm linen cloak. Sleep now under the gaze of the moon that bears her name. Sleep, dear listener, and dream of queens. Inhale deeply and let go of the noise of the day. Now drift, softly, slowly, toward the golden lands where the Nile whispers lullabies and the past rests gently in warm sands. You're entering a place outside of time, a sanctuary of silence, where stars shimmer above stone temples and every breath of wind carries memories thousands of years old. Tonight let us step quietly into the life of a royal woman whose story is carved into eternity. Bintenath, daughter of Pharaoh Ramses II and his queen. Her name itself was a prayer, Bintenat, daughter of the goddess Anat. And like her divine namesake, she carried strength, not in shouting or force, but in graceful stillness, in enduring dignity, in sacred duty. Born into the grand palace of Pyrameses, where gardens bloomed year-round and colonnades stretched like dreams into the horizon, Bintenath's early years were filled with the scent of lotus and cedar. She was raised among scholars, scribes, priests and noblewomen, her education deep, her mind keen. By morning she walked shaded courtyards, birds calling gently from papyrus reeds. By evening, she listened to songs sung in soft voices by handmaidens brushing her hair, their lullabies echoing the rhythms of the river. And when the great sun god Ra made his descent, she would look to the west with wonder, understanding even as a child that her life was woven into the same cycle of light and shadow. As Ramses II's reign lengthened, one of the longest in all of Egypt's mighty history, the royal family grew vast. But among the many daughters, Bintenath stood apart. She was intelligent, serene, and unusually composed. She stood beside her father at ceremonies, a young woman draped in linen, head held high, face lined with kohl. Her presence was both radiant and mysterious. When she became great royal wife, it was not out of romance as we know it today, but out of deep tradition. In the sacred understanding of ancient Egypt, kings were not merely rulers, they were gods incarnate, and their consorts were extensions of that divinity. Bintenath's union with her father was symbolic, meant to solidify divine power on earth, to reflect the heavenly order where Isis and Osiris ruled together, as siblings and soulmates. It was duty, legacy, balance. And in this role, Bintenath flourished. She became the embodiment of the queenly ideal, calm in crisis, gracious in festival, a presence of gentle but immovable stone. In temples across Egypt, you can still find her image carved in limestone, standing behind Ramses, dressed in fine pleated robes, adorned with a vulture headdress, her eyes gazing forwarded into forever. She was honoured in inscriptions, her name spoken beside the pharaohs in rituals that echoed through candlelit halls. Unlike many queens whose stories were lost to time, Bintenath's name endured, repeated in prayers, etched in temple walls, preserved on statues now resting in museums and tombs that sleep under desert sands. Imagine her at night, in her private chamber lined with alabaster lamps. A servant pours cool scented water over her hands. Musicians play soft tunes on lyres and flutes. Outside, the desert air is still, and the moon casts silver trails across the tiled floors. She lays beneath woven linens, a feline curled at her feet, the sounds of crickets rising in rhythmic song. She reflects not on titles or grandeur, but on legacy, on balance, on the endless rhythm of the Nile. As sleep touches her, so too it finds you. You're safe in the hush of history, wrapped in royal calm, and carried gently down the current of ancient memory. Let Bintaneth's life be your lullaby, not filled with war nor conquest, but with quiet strength, reverent devotion, and the slow grace of time. Let your mind wander now, past colonnades, past flowering pools, into the dream realm, where queens walk quietly beneath starlight and the gods smile softly in sleep. Sleep now, dear one. Sleep in peace under the gaze of the eternal stars, and may Bintaneth watch over your dreams as she once watched over the land of the pharaohs. Shh. The winds are calm tonight. Can you feel them? The warm hush of desert air gliding across your skin like silk, sifting gently over the soft dunes, wrapping around your dreams like a mother's shawl. The stars above Egypt blink slowly into view, and somewhere, beyond time, a story waits beneath the sand, a story of a woman who became a pharaoh. Her name was Tawosret, a name lost for centuries to stone and silence, but never truly forgotten by the earth. Tonight, as your head rests and your breath slows like the sacred Nile, we journey gently back to her world. Breathe in slowly. The air smells of sweet lotus and papyrus reeds. You're drifting down the Nile in a royal bark, its sails billowing softly under a crescent moon. Torches flicker along the riverbanks, and in the distance great columns rise, temples standing like dreams, cast into stone. It is the twilight of Egypt's 19th dynasty, a time of unrest, of fragile power, a time where men in high court murmur in shadows, and kingdoms strained beneath the weight of old glories. And yet, amidst this uncertainty, steps forth a woman, poised, patient, a vision in ivory and gold, Tawosret. Born of noble lineage, she was first known as the Great Royal Wife of Pharaoh Seti II. She walked beside him in the temples, her steps graceful, her eyes deep and watchful, a queen with wisdom beyond her time. But fate, as ever, has its own rhythm. Seti passed from this life, and the throne trembled. A child, Siptah, was named king, barely more than a boy. And it was Tawosret who stepped in, not in hunger for power, but in quiet, careful duty. She became regent of Egypt, the guide behind the throne, the steady hand on the tiller in turbulent tides. At night, under canopy stars, she would kneel before the altars, offering incense to Amun, the hidden god, and whisper prayers for peace, for vision, for strength. She was not like the pharaohs who waged war. Her power was still, and all the more enduring for it. And when young Siptah's flame dimmed before its time, Tawosret did something bold, something rare. She placed the double crown upon her own brow. A woman, a pharaoh. She took on the full regalia, the false beard, the Nemes headdress, the sceptre and flail. She stood not beside the throne, but upon it. Her name was inscribed beside Ra and Osiris, her likeness carved into temple walls, where she offered gifts to gods as their equal. She reigned not in chaos, but in elegance, securing trade, maintaining rituals, honouring the great traditions of Ma'at, the sacred balance of truth and order. Her greatest ambition lay in the Valley of the Kings. Tomb Kefi 14, vast and echoing, it was meant to be her eternal resting place. Carved deep into the rock, its walls painted with stars and spells, its corridors whispering with prayers to guide her spirit to the field of reeds. But the world outside was stirring again. A man named Setnakta rose in rebellion, his followers eager to sweep away the last of a fading dynasty. Tawasret, though mighty in spirit, was soon gone from the throne. Her reign ended not with celebration, but with silence. And yet, the silence does not last forever. Time has revealed her again. Archaeologists unearthed her tomb, unfinished, but noble. Her memory lives in the soft scratches on stone, in golden shards of jewellery, in the gentle telling of her name, Tawasret. Tonight you walk through her tomb in dream. Each step echoes softly, as if the stones remember your coming. You pass through painted corridors of blue and ochre, where Anubis stands guard, and Ra sails his celestial boat through the sky of night. The scent of ancient incense lingers in the air. The walls glow faintly under flickering torchlight, telling tales not of battles, but of peace, prayer, and perseverance. And in a chamber beyond all chambers, beneath a vaulted sky of stars, you find her, Tawasret, her figure carved in divine elegance, offering to the gods, wrapped in linen of the finest thread, her crown resting eternal. She's calm, she's still. She is the moonlight on water, the whisper of a queen whose voice carries across time, bidding you rest. Let go now. Let courage and quiet strength guide your dreams. There is no need to hold on to the waking world. Feel the stone cool against your back, the flicker of candlelight beneath your eyelids. Let your thoughts soften like dust upon alabaster. You are safe. You are calm. You are dreaming in the land of queens. And Tawasret watches over you. Good night, gentle traveller. May the sands of time carry you into deep, gentle sleep. Let the quiet night embrace you. Let the hush of history settle around you like a velvet cloak. Your body is at ease, your thoughts are slowing. The stars are blinking above the ancient lands, and the desert sands whisper of a princess born in the cold north, but remembered in the golden south. Tonight, dear dreamer, we follow the journey of a woman whose life bridged empires, melted the silence of war, and brought peace with every graceful step she took. Her name was Mathorneferura, born of ice and iron. In the highlands of Anatolia, where icy winds swept over mountain peaks and dense forests clung to the hills, a royal baby was born into the Hittite empery, a powerful kingdom with chariots, stone fortresses, and thunder in its blood. She was the daughter of Hattusili III, the great Hittite king known for wisdom, not just war, and his beloved queen Puduhepa, a high priestess turned queen, a woman of deep spirit and sharp mind. Mathorneferua was born in a world rack of carved thrones, cold stone temples, and old gods. She grew up learning the languages of diplomats, the rituals of priestesses, and the political power of peace. She watched scrolls unfurl, saw messengers gallop into the capital of Hattusa, and listened to her mother and father speak of faraway lands bathed in sunshine and shadow, lands with pyramids that pierced the sky, Egypt, a land that had once been an enemy, a treaty in the sand. Years before her birth, Egypt and the Hittites clashed at the Battle of Kadesh, a fierce and uncertain battle, where mighty Ramses II led his armies under the burning sun. Though neither side truly won, they both understood the cost of war. Years passed, swords dulled, shields hung in silence, and then a treaty. The first international peace treaty in recorded history. A masterpiece of diplomacy. An agreement between two mighty kings that would be sealed with a daughter. And so it was that Matonaferuer, still a young woman with starlight in her eyes, was chosen to bring empires together. It was not merely a marriage, it was a union of hope. The journey south. Imagine now the caravan that carried her. A long, slow procession of honour and treasure, stretching across lands and rivers, beneath scorching sun and endless sky. Her chariot was gilded. Her robes were soft as whispers, dyed in the blues and reds of royalty. Gold and silver ornaments from her tusa clinked gently with every movement. Behind her, chests of offerings. Ahead of her, Egypt. The road was long and strange, but Matonaferuer never looked back. She had been trained for this moment. Not just to be a bride, but to be a living symbol of unity. She would not just wear a crown, she would carry the legacy of two empires upon her shoulders, a queen in a foreign land. When Matonaferuer arrived in Egypt, she entered a world that glowed golden at every edge. Palm trees rustled over palace walls. Priests hummed chants in ancient tongues. Lotus flowers floated in sacred pools. The scent of myrrh and incense danced on the air like music. Pharaoh Ramses II, already a legend in his time, received her in the court of Pi-Ramesses, a city built for kings carved from ambition and stone. He welcomed her not just as a foreign bride, but as a queen of Egypt, bestowing her with the title Great Royal Wife Matonaferuer. Though she joined a royal household, where queens such as Nefertari and Setnofret already reigned in elegance, Matonaferuer's presence was unique. She brought the voice of another world, the grace of Hattusa, and the power of a promise kept. She was given her own palace quarters, her name etched onto temple walls, her memory preserved in the ink of scribes. Her presence turned diplomacy into devotion, between two worlds. Some nights, perhaps, she would sit alone in her garden, beneath the papyrus trees, listening to the soft hum of crickets and the distant singing of temple flutes. Did she think of her family far to the north, the snowy rooftops of her homeland, the laughter of siblings she left behind? Perhaps she missed them, but perhaps too she found comfort in the rhythms of the Nile, in the warmth of the Egyptian sun, in the kindness of courtiers and the laughter of handmaidens. She adapted. She learned the language, the customs, and she ruled not from loud declarations, but from the quiet strength of understanding. She was a queen not born of Egypt, but Egypt embraced her just the same. A whisper through time, little is known of Matonaferuer's final days. Did she bear children? Did she continue advising in matters of diplomacy? The records fall silent, but silence does not mean absence. In the hush between scrolls and stones, her story still breathes. She was a pioneer of peace, a royal daughter who travelled from snow to sun, who turned the sharp edges of war into a soft promise. And now, as you lie still, let her story cradle you. Let the chariot wheels echo in your dreams, the silver treaty shimmer across your thoughts, and the soft voice of Matonaferuer wrap around you like silk in the night. She is not forgotten. She lives in the peace she helped shape, and in the soft stillness of your sleep tonight. Breathe deeply, dear traveller of dreams. Let the starlight of the Hittites meet the moonlight of Egypt. Let queens guide your rest, and the sands of history sing you to sleep. Close your eyes softly now, dear dreamer, and let the whispering sands of time carry you gently away, into a land of golden sunlight and shadowed temples, where the Nile flows endlessly like a silver ribbon through the heart of Egypt. Tonight we rest beside a queen whose story glows quietly in the pages of history, a woman who lived with grace and dignity, Henut-Maya, the beloved wife of Pharaoh Seti I. Born into a world kissed by the sun god Ra, Henut-Maya's earliest days were swaddled in the warm embrace of royal lineage. Though the details of her birth remain wrapped in mystery, it is believed she came from the sacred line of Ramses I, making her either a daughter or sister to Seti I, a connection that wove her tightly into the tapestry of Egypt's most powerful dynasty. From the moment she took her first breath, Henut-Maya was surrounded by grandeur and tradition. Her childhood likely passed within the serene walls of a palace adorned with towering columns, where the soft glow of oil lamps danced upon painted murals of gods and kings. Her days were filled with learning tales of Isis and Osiris, of balance and truth, and lessons on the delicate art of royal conduct. She was taught to carry herself with a quiet strength, to understand that power was as much in gentle words as in commanding voices. Soft linens clothed her small frame, perfumed oils scented the air around her, and the song of temple chants floated through the palace halls like a lullaby. As the years unfolded, Henut-Maya's path led her to a union that would shape Egypt's future. She became the great royal wife of Seti I, a pharaoh known for his wisdom, bravery, and dedication to restoring Egypt's glory. Unlike queens who ruled loudly and boldly, Henut-Maya's reign beside Seti was one of gentle presence and quiet influence. She was the calm in the storm of politics, the soothing breath behind the thunder of a king's command. Together they moved through the sacred rituals that bound Egypt's kings and queens to the divine offerings to the gods, ceremonies that kept Ma'at, the cosmic order, in perfect balance. Henut-Maya's role was one of sacred support, a queen who upheld the harmony between mortal and divine realms. Her beauty was more than skin deep, it was a reflection of her spirit, calm, wise, and endlessly gracious. She was loved not for grand gestures, but for the steady light she brought to the royal court. Within the palace walls, Henut-Maya's days passed in quiet dignity. Imagine her seated in a chamber overlooking the fertile Nile, the soft rustle of papyrus reeds in the breeze, her hands folded gently in her lap as attendants weave delicate garlands of lotus flowers. She may have listened to the soft strains of a harp, or the rhythmic beat of drums echoing from distant festivals, all the while holding the weight of her sacred duties with serene composure. Though history does not tell us many tales of dramatic exploits or sweeping reforms, Henut-Maya's life was no less important. She was the heartbeat of the palace, steady, enduring, and full of quiet power. As time flowed like the Nile itself, Henut-Maya's story gently came to its close. She was laid to rest in the Valley of the Queens, her tomb a sanctuary of peace carved from the living rock. In this final resting place, her likeness was painted with care, surrounded by protective gods, symbols of eternal life and divine protection. Though the centuries have weathered much, the calm dignity of her memory remains untouched. She rests not as a queen of grand conquests, but as a guardian of harmony, a gentle thread in the fabric of ancient Egypt's enduring legacy. Now, dear dreamer, let the calm spirit of Henut-Maya soothe your weary mind. Picture yourself walking beside her through tranquil gardens, cool shadows beneath date palms, the sweet scent of blooming jasmine in the evening air. Feel the soft warmth of the desert sun fading, and the gentle hush of twilight wrapping you in its embrace. Hennetmeyer's quiet strength now becomes your own, a beacon of peace to guide you deeper into rest. As the stars begin to twinkle like jewels overhead, let her story settle softly in your heart. You are safe here, cradled in the timeless night, held by the gentle hands of history. Sleep well, dear traveller through dreams, and may the gentle spirit of Hennetmeyer watch over you tonight. Close your eyes gently, dear dreamer, and let the soft night carry you away to a land of timeless magic, where the golden sands stretch beneath endless skies, and the sacred Nile flows like a silver ribbon through the heart of ancient Egypt. Tonight we rest in the gentle light of a Set, known to many as Isis, the deified queen, the great mother and goddess of love, magic and healing. Her story is one of strength woven with kindness, a tale as old as the stars whispered in the warm desert breeze. Born from the union of earth and sky, Aset came into the world as the beloved daughter of Geb, the god who holds the soil beneath our feet, and Nut, the celestial goddess who arches over the world like a protective canopy. Her childhood was touched by divinity, nurtured beneath the watchful eyes of gods and goddesses who taught her the sacred ways. From the moment she could understand the world around her, Aset was drawn to the mysteries of life, the ebb and flow of seasons, the whispering winds, and the shimmering waters of the Nile. She learned the ancient languages of magic, the power to heal wounds both of body and spirit, and the deep secrets of nature's cycles, which remind us that after every night a new dawn will come. Her hands, delicate yet strong, were destined to bring comfort, her heart full of love, ready to nurture kings and commoners alike. Soft as a lotus blooming on the river's edge, Aset's spirit held the calm promise of peace. As she grew, so did her influence and grace. She became the devoted wife of Osiris, the god-king whose reign was just and wise, and the steadfast sister to Horus and Set, gods who shaped the heavens and the earth. Her rise was not through conquest or cruelty, but through her boundless devotion and gentle strength, a power that came not from the sword but from love and magic. When dark fate struck and Osiris was cruelly betrayed, his body torn apart and scattered like leaves in the wind, it was Aset who refused to surrender to despair. With tender hands and a heart full of hope, she searched the land, gathering every piece of her beloved king, weaving them together with sacred spells. She journeyed through shadowed realms, through trials that tested her very soul, until finally her love revived Osiris, bringing him back to life and to the realm of the gods. In that miraculous act, Aset became more than a queen. She became a symbol of eternal life, of rebirth and resurrection that promises even after loss, there is hope. During her reign as goddess and protector, temples rose across the land, their stones glowing with prayers and songs in her honour. Her image, calm and radiant, was carved in statues, painted in vibrant colours on the walls of sacred tombs, each one a testament to her healing power and boundless compassion. She was the mother who soothed the weary, the queen who guided the lost, her presence a gentle light in the darkest nights. Her magic was a balm to the sick and a shield for the vulnerable. Her voice a whisper of calm carried on the desert winds. Yet even a goddess faces moments that test the limits of her power. Darkness and chaos threatened the delicate balance of the world. Aset stood firm, unwavering, her courage shining like a beacon through the tempest. Her love was her strength, her hope her shield, and her magic wove a protective web over the lands of Egypt and beyond. Though she battled forces that sought to unravel the harmony of life, her story is never one of cruelty or terror. Instead, it is a gentle reminder of love's triumph over despair, of a spirit that heals and restores even when all seems lost. Aset's legacy lives on in every whispered prayer, in every heart that dares to love fiercely and heal deeply. She teaches us that even in the darkest hour, light is never truly gone, and every ending is simply the start of a new beginning. Now, as you let your breath grow slow and your body sink deep into rest, imagine the soft glow of Aset's wings enfolding you, her presence wrapping you in a warm, protective embrace. Feel her gentle magic flow like the cool waters of the Nile, carrying you peacefully toward dreams as soft as desert sand. Rest now, safe and calm, held in the arms of the goddess who watches over all life with love. Let the whispers of her ancient stories soothe your mind as you drift deeper into the comforting night. Sleep well, dear traveller of dreams, and may the eternal light of Aset guide your journey through the stars. Close your eyes now and allow yourself to drift softly through the quiet sands of time. Imagine the gentle warmth of the Egyptian sun sinking low behind distant dunes, painting the sky in shades of gold and violet. In this peaceful moment, let me tell you the story of Mutnojmet, a woman whose life was woven quietly into the grand tapestry of ancient Egypt's royal lineage, a sister, a queen, and a keeper of calm in times of change. Born into the heart of one of history's most fascinating eras, Mutnojmet was the younger sister of Nefertiti, the radiant queen whose beauty and power are still remembered today. Though the exact details of her early years are veiled by the mists of time, we know that she was raised within the sacred walls of the royal palace, where every stone held stories of gods and kings, of ceremonies and mysteries. From a young age, Mutnojmet learned the importance of grace, wisdom, and reverence, not just for the divine, but for the fragile balance of life itself. The palace was a world filled with vibrant colours, the scent of incense, and the hum of soft prayers. Here, among priests, scribes, and nobles, Mutnojmet's childhood blossomed quietly but steadily. She was surrounded by love and tradition, her days filled with lessons about the gods and the sacred duties of royalty. Her connection to her sister Nefertiti was deep, a bond forged through shared whispers and moments of childhood innocence, before the weight of crowns and thrones settled upon their shoulders. As Nefertiti rose to stand beside Pharaoh Akhenaten, championing a revolutionary new religion that honoured the sun Diskatan above all others, Mutnojmet's own path was woven quietly beside the tides of change. She was not just a sister, but a trusted companion, navigating the shifting sands of a kingdom that was both thrilling and uncertain. The world around them was transforming, yet Mutnojmet remained a steadfast presence, her strength lying in her calm and steady heart. The rise to power of Mutnojmet came not through loud proclamations or fierce battles, but through quiet loyalty and devotion. When the tumultuous reign of Akhenaten gave way to the era of Horemheb, Mutnojmet stepped into her role as great royal wife with gentle dignity. Her marriage to Horemheb marked a turning point, not only in her life, but in the history of Egypt itself. Together, they would help restore order and tradition after years of upheaval. In the early days of her queenship, Mutnojmet brought a soothing presence to the palace. Her role was one of deep respect and subtle influence, supporting Horemheb as he worked to revive the old gods and restore the ancient temples. The land, weary from a religious revolution, began to breathe again, and the people found comfort in the familiar chants and ceremonies that echoed through temple halls. Mutnojmet was at the heart of this renewal, her serene demeanour a balm for a kingdom longing for peace. But the palace was never without its shadows. Behind the grand columns and golden thrones, there were whispers of ambition and struggle, reminders that power was fragile and must be carefully tended. Mutnojmet's strength shone brightest in these moments, her wisdom and patience a guiding light amid the subtle intrigues and uncertainties. She carried her responsibilities with quiet grace, a steady hand in a time of fragile peace. Though her reign may not be marked by towering monuments or great battles, Mutnojmet's influence was profound. She was a symbol of resilience, embodying the gentle power of endurance and quiet leadership. Her story reminds us that strength often lies not in loud triumphs, but in the steady, unyielding presence of those who hold a kingdom together through calm and care. As the years passed and the sun set gently on Mutnojmet's life, we imagine her surrounded by the soft glow of the eternal Nile, resting peacefully beneath the watchful eyes of the gods she honoured so deeply. Her legacy, like the slow, steady flow of the river, continues to soothe and inspire, a quiet reminder that even in the face of change, there is comfort in loyalty, patience, and grace. Now, as your breath grows slow and deep, let the story of Mutnojmet lull you into restful sleep. Picture yourself floating gently down the Nile, cradled by the warm currents and the whispering palms. Feel the calm of ancient Egypt wrap around you like a soft, silken blanket, carrying you into dreams filled with peace and gentle light. Sleep well, dear dreamer, and may the quiet strength of Mutnojmet guide you through a night of calm and renewal. Close your eyes softly now, and imagine the warm sun sinking slowly behind distant hills, casting a golden glow over a land where the great Nile flows steady and strong. This is the kingdom of Nubia, a place of rich earth, gentle winds, and ancient wisdom. It is here, amid the whispering palms and serene rivers, that the story of Queen Tiberi begins, a story of grace, strength, and quiet power that spans the ages. Tiberi was born into the noble family of Nubia, where the culture was as deep and enduring as the river itself. From the moment she took her first breath, she was surrounded by love, tradition, and the knowledge of those who had come before her. As a child, she roamed the sun-dappled banks of the Nile, listening to the elders' stories of gods and heroes, learning the values of courage, loyalty, and kindness. The land's beauty was her cradle, and the river's gentle songs were her lullabies. She grew up with the spirit of the desert winds and the fertile soil in her heart, strong yet gentle. Her family, powerful and respected, guided her carefully, teaching her the ways of leadership and the delicate art of balancing strength with compassion. She watched her parents lead with dignity, and their example planted seeds within her, a desire to protect her people and bring harmony between Nubia and its great neighbour Egypt. As Tiberi blossomed into a young woman, her beauty was said to reflect the radiant sun itself, and her wisdom was already apparent beyond her years. The world around her began to change, as alliances were forged to strengthen bonds between kingdoms. Through marriage, Tiberi entered the Egyptian royal family, not as a conqueror, but as a bridge, a symbol of unity between two great peoples. Her rise to power was marked by respect, mutual honour, and a hope that together, Nubia and Egypt could flourish as one. In those early days of her reign, Tiberi's presence brought a gentle calm to the royal court. She was beloved by both Nubians and Egyptians, admired not just for her noble birth, but for the kindness in her heart and the steady strength in her voice. The palaces echoed with songs and celebrations, and temples shone with offerings to the gods, prayers for peace, prosperity, and long life. She walked with grace through the halls, her steps as soft as the desert breeze, and her smile as warm as the morning sun. Yet, the path of a queen is never without challenge. The delicate ties between Nubia and Egypt required constant care. Political tensions simmered beneath the surface, and Tiberi often found herself navigating a world of whispers and intrigue. Still, she met each test with calm resolve. Where others might have wielded power with harshness, Tiberi chose understanding and diplomacy, weaving a tapestry of trust and respect that held strong even through storms. There were moments when her heart grew heavy with the weight of responsibility, times when the ambitions of others threatened the fragile peace she nurtured, But even in those shadows her spirit did not falter. She stood firm like an ancient tree, roots deep in the earth, branches reaching toward the sky, steadfast, serene and strong. Unlike many rulers whose reigns darkened with cruelty or fear, Tiberi's time as queen was marked by a gentle wisdom. She did not rule with an iron fist, but with a heart open to her people's hopes and fears. Her decisions, though sometimes difficult, were guided by love and a desire to bring harmony to her kingdom. Her legacy is one of compassion balanced with strength, a reminder that true power lies not in domination, but in understanding. When her time on earth came to an end, the land mourned quietly, like a river's soft sigh at dusk. Yet her spirit lived on, in the hearts of her people, in the peaceful lands she helped shape, and in the memory of a queen who bridged worlds with grace. Tiberi's story is a gentle whisper across the sands of time, a lesson in patience, kindness, and the quiet strength that lies in calm resolve. Now, as you lie nestled in your own soft embrace of night, imagine yourself beside the tranquil Nile, where gentle waters flow endlessly and stars shimmer like jewels overhead. Feel the cool night breeze, carrying the scent of lotus flowers and warm earth. Let the peaceful spirit of Tiberi cradle you as softly as a mother's hand, soothing your mind and soul. Allow the calm of ancient Nubia to fill you with tranquility. Let the steady flow of the Nile guide you deeper into rest. As you breathe slowly and evenly, feel your body melting into comfort, your thoughts drifting like clouds across a serene sky. Sleep well, dear dreamer. May the gentle strength of Queen Tiberi's story bring you peace and warmth through the night, and may you awaken refreshed, ready to greet a new day with grace. Under the vast, star-speckled sky of ancient Nubia, where the warm desert breeze whispers through the palms, a special child was born into a lineage of rulers. Her name was Shanakta, a woman destined to wear the crown of a queen and guide her people with quiet strength and gentle wisdom. Though many centuries have passed, her story remains a soft thread woven into the rich tapestry of history. From the moment of her birth, Shanakta was surrounded by the beauty and mystery of Nubia, a land where the mighty Nile nourished the earth and sacred temples rose like silent guardians. Her family belonged to the royal house, a bloodline intertwined with the power and spirituality of her people. As a child, she learned from elders and priests, growing up listening to the soothing chants and stories of gods and ancestors. Her early days were calm and filled with lessons of duty, patience, and compassion, setting the foundation for a life marked by quiet resilience. As Shanakta grew, the path to power gradually opened before her. Unlike many rulers who seized their thrones through battles or sudden twists of fate, her rise was more a natural unfolding, a soft current pulling her gently toward leadership. She was chosen as queen, stepping into a role that demanded both strength and grace. This ascent was a testament to the respect she had earned from her people and court a peaceful passing of the torch rather than a violent struggle. In the early days of her reign, Shanakta ruled with a calm hand and a steady heart. Her leadership was like the soothing flow of the Nile at dawn, bringing peace and stability after the chaos of storms. She nurtured her kingdom, encouraging harmony between Nubia and its powerful neighbor Egypt. Temples were cared for, festivals celebrated, and the arts flourished under her watchful gaze. Her subjects felt a sense of safety and calm, knowing their queen ruled with wisdom rather than harshness. But every reign carries its own trials. Though Shanakta rule was mostly peaceful, the currents of time brought challenges. Political tensions sometimes stirred, alliances shifted like desert sands, and the heavy burden of maintaining two lands tested her resolve. Yet, she met these moments with patience and strength, never faltering in her commitment to her people. Unlike rulers who fall prey to cruelty or fear, Shanakta remained a symbol of balance, facing difficulties with quiet dignity. Her time as queen eventually came to a gentle close. There are no tales of violent downfall or tragic exile. Instead, Shanakdakita's reign ended like a setting sun, calm, beautiful, and natural. Her legacy was not one of conquest or terror, but of peace, steady leadership, and cultural flourishing. She passed on the torch to the next generation, leaving behind a kingdom that had thrived under her soft but sure hand. Today, Shanakdakita's story is a quiet whisper from the past, a reminder that true power can come from kindness and patience, that leadership need not roar like thunder but can flow gently like a river. Her life teaches us about the strength found in calm perseverance and the beauty of ruling with a loving heart. Now, as you lie comfortably beneath your blankets, imagine the warm Nubian breeze brushing softly across your skin. Picture the Nile's gentle waters shimmering under the moonlight, carrying peaceful dreams from distant lands. Feel the soft presence of Queen Shanakdakita surrounding you like a comforting cloak, inviting you to relax deeply. Breathe in slowly, filling your lungs with calm, and breathe out, releasing any tension. Let your thoughts drift away like leaves floating on a slow river. Allow yourself to be carried gently into rest, safe and serene. Sleep well, dear dreamer. May the quiet grace and steady strength of Shanakdakita guide you into a night filled with peaceful dreams. As you close your eyes tonight, let the tranquil spirit of Shanakdakita lull you softly into a gentle sleep. Sleep well, dear traveller of history. Sweet dreams. In the ancient land of Egypt, beneath the endless blue sky and the warm golden sun, a child named Nodumet was born. She came into the world surrounded by faith and mystery, born into a family devoted to the powerful god Amun. From the moment of her birth, her life was touched by the whispered prayers of temple priests, the gentle flicker of oil lamps in shadowed sanctuaries, and the steady rhythm of ancient rituals. Nodumet's childhood was filled with quiet learning and reverence. She grew up walking through great stone halls, where carved images of gods and kings told stories of eternity. Her family taught her the sacred ways of the temple, where every breath and every movement was part of a divine dance connecting heaven and earth. As a young girl, Nodumet learned the importance of patience, grace, and strength held quietly within. As she matured, Nodumet's path intertwined with that of Herihor, the high priest of Amun, a man whose role was both spiritual and political. Their union was not just one of love, but also of destiny, binding her to a position of influence at the heart of Egypt's religious life. Through Herihor, Nodumet rose from noble daughter to a woman of great power, standing beside the man who was seen as a living link to the gods. Her early years as the wife of the high priest were full of promise. Together, they oversaw the rituals that kept balance in the kingdom, ensured the gods' favour, and offered peace to the people. Nodumet's presence was calming and wise, a gentle light in the grand temples of Thebes. Her support of Herihor's duties helped strengthen his leadership, bringing hope to a time of transition and uncertainty. But the tides of power and the weight of responsibility soon changed the course of Nodumet's life. While she herself was a figure of quiet devotion, the world around her was filled with challenges. Political rivalries and the complex interplay between religious and royal authority tested their resolve. Yet Nodumet remained steadfast, her calm spirit guiding those around her through times of tension. There was no cruelty in her reign, only a serene dignity and quiet endurance that comforted the faithful. Despite the pressures and trials, Nodumet's influence was marked by compassion and balance. She was a pillar of strength, embodying the sacred connection between the earthly and the divine. Her role was not to wield harsh power, but to nurture harmony, to hold space for sacred traditions even as the world shifted beneath her feet. In the gentle twilight of her life, Nodumet's story softly drew to a close. She passed away with the quiet grace of a fading star, leaving behind a legacy of faith, patience, and gentle power. Her memory lingered in the temple stones and whispered prayers, a soothing presence for those who sought solace in troubled times. As you lie here now, wrapped in comfort and peace, imagine yourself walking through those ancient halls with Nojmet's calm spirit beside you. Feel the warm glow of oil lamps casting soft shadows on sacred walls. Hear the faint rhythmic chanting that echoes through time. Let the gentle power of her story cradle you as you drift into sleep. Breathe slowly and deeply, in and out, letting your body relax fully. Allow your thoughts to settle like soft sand in a still river, letting go of all worries. Nojmet's serene presence is here to guide you gently into restful dreams, where peace and calm reign. Sleep well, dear dreamer. May the quiet strength and sacred grace of Nojmet wrap you in a comforting embrace through the night. As you close your eyes tonight, let the calm spirit of Nojmet carry you gently into a world of peaceful dreams. Sleep well, dear traveller of history. Sweet dreams. In the gentle embrace of ancient Egypt, where the golden sun kissed the endless sands and the Nile's cool waters sang lullabies to the land, a princess named Neferura was born. She was the cherished daughter of Queen Hatshepsut, a ruler unlike any other, wise, strong and graceful. From the moment she entered the world, Neferura's life was intertwined with the sacred, wrapped in quiet dignity and deep devotion. Neferura's childhood was calm and filled with wonder. She grew beneath the towering columns of magnificent temples, where sunlight filtered softly through painted windows, casting colourful patterns on the stone floors. Surrounded by loving family and devoted priests, she learned the ancient songs and prayers whispered to the gods. Every day she felt the warmth of the desert sun and the gentle coolness of the Nile breeze, grounding her spirit in a world of balance and peace. As she blossomed into young womanhood, Neferura's path became clear and purposeful. She was chosen to serve as a priestess, a sacred bridge between her people and the divine forces that watched over Egypt. This rise to her holy role was a gentle unfolding, a quiet honour bestowed by her mother and the priests, who saw in her a calm strength and unwavering faith. The responsibility was great, but Neferura carried it with a humble heart and steady hands. Her early days as a priestess were filled with light and hope. She walked gracefully among the columns, offering incense and prayers, her voice soft and soothing as the ancient hymns echoed through the temple halls. The people around her found comfort in her serene presence. Her devotion was like a peaceful river, flowing steadily and bringing life to the spiritual heart of the land. There was a quiet joy in these moments, a promise of balance and harmony. But as with all stories woven through time, a subtle turning point came. The reign of Hatshepsut, though powerful and prosperous, was marked by complexities and quiet struggles. The demands of ruling a kingdom brought shadows that reached even the sacred temples. Yet Neferura's spirit did not waver. Instead, she became a steady light amid the shifting sands of power, a guardian of sacred traditions and peaceful prayers. Her role deepened as she soothed and steadied the hearts of those around her. Throughout this time, Neferura's story remained one of quiet strength and gentle influence. There were no tales of cruelty or terror in her life, only the steady work of faith, balance, and sacred duty. She moved through the days and nights as a soft breeze, calming the restless and nurturing the hopes of her people. Her presence was a balm, a reminder that even in change there is peace to be found. As the years flowed like the Nile, Neferura's life remained dedicated to the gods and her people. Her prayers were whispered under the stars, her hands lighting the sacred flames that never ceased to burn. When her time in this world came to its gentle close, it was with the quiet grace of a life well lived, a life of devotion and serene purpose. Now, as you prepare to drift into the calm waters of sleep, imagine yourself walking beside Neferura through the tranquil temple gardens. Feel the soft sand beneath your feet, hear the gentle rustling of palm leaves, and breathe in the cool, soothing air filled with the scent of lotus and myrrh. Let her peaceful spirit wrap around you like a warm blanket, guiding you gently into rest. Take a deep breath in and out. Let your body relax, sinking deeper into comfort. Let your mind become still, as quiet and calm as the sacred Nile at night. With every breath you are carried softly toward peaceful dreams. Sleep well, dear dreamer. May the gentle light of Neferura's spirit watch over you through the night, bringing you calm and comfort until the morning light. As you close your eyes tonight, let the serene grace of Neferure carry you softly into a world of dreams. Sleep well, dear traveller of history. Sweet dreams. In the warm and golden land of ancient Egypt, along the gentle banks of the mighty Nile River, there lived a queen named Tia. She was a woman of quiet grace, calm wisdom, and deep love, a mother whose heart held the hopes and dreams of a kingdom. Her story is a soft melody, weaving through time of devotion, strength, and gentle guidance that shaped one of Egypt's great pharaohs, her beloved son, Thutmose IV. Tia was born into a world where royal bloodlines wove the fabric of Egypt's future. Though her early years are wrapped in the mists of history, we know she grew up surrounded by the timeless rituals and serene beauty of the Nile Valley. Her childhood was likely filled with lessons from wise women of the palace, lessons on kindness, patience, and the sacred balance between power and compassion. These early teachings blossomed within her, nurturing a spirit that was both tender and strong. As she matured, Tia's path led her into the royal court, where she became queen alongside her husband, Amenhotep II. But her most cherished role was that of mother to the young prince, Thutmose IV. In the quiet halls of the palace, away from the grandeur and demands of the throne, Tia was a gentle guide. She watched over her son with a protective and loving heart, teaching him not just the duties of royalty but the deeper meanings of life, respect for the gods, reverence for the earth, and kindness to all living things. Imagine Tia walking softly through the palace gardens with her son. The air is fragrant with blooming lotus and jasmine, the sunlight warm but softened by the shade of towering palm trees. The gentle flow of water in the sacred pools mirrors the calm steadiness she wished for her son's future. As the breeze carries the whispers of ancient prayers, she tells Thutmose stories of the gods and goddesses, of creation and renewal, planting seeds of wisdom in his young mind. Her rise to influence was quiet but profound. Though not always in the centre of power, Tia's presence was like the steady current beneath the surface of the Nile. Unseen but essential, her guidance helped Thutmose grow into a thoughtful and wise leader, preparing him to carry the heavy crown and sacred responsibilities of Pharaoh. When the time came for Thutmose IV to ascend the throne, Tia's nurturing had woven into him a calm confidence and humility, rarely seen in those who hold great power. Her early reign as Queen Mother was filled with hope, a promise of peace and prosperity, inspired by the lessons she had lovingly instilled. The kingdom flourished under her quiet care, as the pharaoh's reign blossomed like the eternal lotus, strong yet graceful. Yet, even in times of calm, the path of royalty is never without its challenges. The burden of leadership weighs heavily, and with it moments of doubt and struggle. Tia remained a steady anchor in her son's life, a gentle reminder of the balance between strength and compassion. Her wisdom helped temper decisions, guiding the kingdom through its trials with a soft but unwavering hand. In the golden twilight of her life, Tia's legacy was not written in grand monuments or loud proclamations, but in the quiet peace she fostered in her family and her kingdom. Her story is a testament to the power of love and wisdom that flows gently but deeply, like the sacred Nile itself. Though the years passed and the sands shifted, her spirit remained a calm light, guiding future generations through the ever-changing tides of history. As night falls softly over the land of Egypt, imagine the palace bathed in moonlight, the stars shimmering like distant fireflies in the vast desert sky. Feel the cool breeze caress your skin as you lie beside the tranquil Nile, surrounded by the peaceful beauty that Tia cherished. Let her gentle spirit envelop you like a warm embrace, calming your thoughts and soothing your heart. Breathe in deeply the serenity of this ancient world, and breathe out all worries and tension. Let your body sink into softness, your mind drift like a gentle boat on still water. Feel yourself wrapped in the timeless calm of Tia's love and wisdom, drifting peacefully toward restful sleep. Sleep well, dear dreamer, embraced by the gentle spirit of a queen whose quiet strength still whispers through the sands of time. May your dreams be soft and sweet, your rest deep and healing, until morning light gently wakes you to a new day. Let your body sink into softness, your mind drift like a gentle boat on still water. Feel yourself wrapped in the timeless calm of Tia's love and wisdom, drifting peacefully toward restful sleep. Sleep well, dear dreamer, embraced by the gentle spirit of a queen whose quiet strength still whispers through the sands of time. May your dreams be soft and sweet, your rest deep and healing, until morning light gently wakes you to a new day.